I know this bad girl with a scooter. She flipped my shit sideways. Summers off of fire escape, sunsets, sticky icky flowers in the blunt. Yes, I wanna get her undressed, hickey biting rough sex. But anyway, she don't pay me no mind. She just comes through the smoke for the daily unwind. And Miss Thang with a sideways ponytail talking, and I try to listen to her, but I'm holy grail stalking. I love it when she whisper my name too. Blood red hair, eyes crippin' a dang blue. Green weave falling out a loose brown. When I look inside her eyes, it's like I'm in a new town. Move around, I'm stuck, frozen. I feel my heartbeat, it's about to bust open. Why the fuck am I just sitting here? Cause when you leave the room, none of them feelings ever seem to disappear. It's been a year and some change, and it's clear that you changed. It's been a year and some change, and it's clear that you've changed. So why summertime gotta end? It's been a year and some change, and it's clear that you've changed. It's been a year and some change, and it's clear that you've changed. So why summertime gotta end? Some people chase drugs, I'm chasing memories. It's been a long time and I'm just praying you remember me. That phone call, your voice, it felt like 2 lifetimes ago. Time travel back, I didn't know that sunshine would slow. I've never been so happy to feel a raindrop. Cause when we're rolling together, all the pain stops. It's just the 3 of us, maybe 4 or 5. I'm trying to keep composure around them gorgeous eyes. I'm mortified that if I tell you how I feel, that it wouldn't be the same. And listen kid, I want it real, and it's an understatement to say it's complicated, but I don't really care. I'm getting lost in conversation. I've never been confident except when I'm with you. I feel like the world's at the bottom of my shoe. I'm still chasing summertime, I've been through cold winters. I wanna say I love you, I just choked the whole sentence. When you told me what you told me on that car ride home, you never felt the same way about the stars I've shown you. I don't know if you noticed it, but damn if I was crushed. And I choked those tears back in fear of damage in the rush. And I'm just rambling and stuff, trying to hide it, but you know it and I know it and we all know. So how south could it all go? I'm stuck inside that twilight, just looking at my ceiling while your face stares back. I'm awake, I fucking needed you, I'm gone. It's been a year and some change, and it's clear that you've changed. It's been a year and some change, and it's clear that you've changed. So why summertime gotta end? It's been a year and some change, and it's clear that you've changed. It's been a year and some change, and it's clear that you've changed. So why summertime gotta end? Couple shots from the bar, stagger home at night. I called your cell number when I slurred, you were so polite. I love your voice, but it feels so far away. I turned my ass around and found which way to walk today. Stumbled to your doorstep, it's raining, you would let me in. I said I wanna marry you, you stuttered like let's be friends. You're drunk, I'm not, I said I was though. Rejection was as fun as getting bellied by a snub nose. Uh-oh, another stain on the glass, like I need another friend, that's a pain in the ass. But I ain't really mad, I'm drunk as hell and on your couch now. My head is on your thigh, I'm thinking about passing out now.
You're still there, I'm impaired, you've been there, you know me, you love me, cause I'm gone and I'll see you later. I've gone away. I checked in, I checked out, I'm moving, I wreck house like Uzi, Alushi. Now I'm gone and I'll see you later, but not today.
And why am I just sitting in the dark room? Your words can paint a picture like it's cartoons, and I'm the part punchline. And when it comes to crunch time, semester one will start soon. The pain doubles, hungover and foggy. And when I try to come over, it's probably kinda awkward, but the halo hung over her's awfully suspicious. I'm off, she done did it to cross me, but fuck it. She don't wanna talk about it. She don't wanna talk about it. I can't run through with a dance, the sun's brutal, my chances all gone, the situation's all wrong.
I wake up, you're still there, I'm in bed, you've been there, you know me, you love me, cause I'm gone and I'll see you later. I've gone away. I checked in, I checked out, I'm moving, I wreck eyes like Uzi, Alushi, now I'm gone and I'll see you later, but not today.
My head splitting, wide open, and it's from sipping my potion. And life tends to kick divine motions. I feel my inner mind's hopeless. Nucleosis, I am one, I am mono, I am the solitude. I couldn't even write a rhyme or fucking swallow food. And bitch, you had the fucking nerve to say that I didn't try. You scaled my whole world back, I would've died by your side. I'm not a violent guy, but shit, I threw a chair or two, knife edge to the chest. Now why you going Ric Flair, dude? My head's still splitting, wide open, and it's from sipping my potion.
I wake up, you're still there, I'm in bed, you've been there, you know me, you love me, cause I'm gone and I'll see you later. I've gone away. I checked in, I checked out, I'm moving, I wreck eyes like Uzi, Alushi, now I'm gone and I'll see you later, but not today.
Setting the parameters. That's really the hard part.
Are you talking about a video game?
Hmm? Takun, what are you doing?
Homework?
Then why don't you do it at home?
It's not cool.
You can do my homework too if you want, huh?
Hmm? Your hands are upside down.
Huh? Oh. You should play baseball too, Takun. Why do you always carry around a bat?
Why do you always hang around here by the river?
Because you know. Huh?
Wow, another banger start. I'm always really good at those. Anyway, hello everybody. It is officially Animal Jam Sunday, which will go away pretty quick after this. To be honest, hello, how are you? Love you. It's been fucking ages. Ew. Yes. I am pretty good. Itching to do something, so I'm glad we're here. No, I wasn't just on pictures. Don't look at that. Luckily it looks like you couldn't see. Okay, so anyway, I know it's just terrible. These are gonna play instantly. Shut. Okay. Why is this so like that? I wish it wasn't. Ugh. That feels better. Okay, anyway. So we got our Animal Jam things up. Both are gonna take a minute to get through. But this is so exciting. I literally cannot wait. So let's just go. Let's just go. We're gonna go in order. So it's gonna be the Animal Jam one first, and then the Fer.al one we'll do after, because that game came out second. And I feel that that is appropriate.
There are a lot of games that I spent an unhealthy amount of time on as a kid. The My
my
Little Pony
God.
roleplay server on Roblox, the Warrior Cat server on Roblox, the Wolf MMO on Roblox. Actually, now that I think about it, a lot of them involved Roblox. There was Fantage and Free Realms and Wizard 101 and Club Penguin and Neopets and Pixie Hollow and Pop Tropicana, and that's just scraping the surface.
Oh my god.
But I feel like everyone had that one game as a kid, that game that you'd spend all day at school thinking about, and then you'd rush home, and as soon as you got home, you'd just spend your whole evening playing it.
Oh my god.
And for me, that game was Animal Jam. Developed by WildWorks and National Geographic.
Oh my god, she looks so young. I remember when she was just a baby. Ugh.
2010, Animal Jam was an educational virtual world for kids to play games, chat with friends, and customize their own animal characters. As most virtual worlds tend to do, it devolved into a cesspool of scamming, glitching, hacking, drama, and controversy, and I'm here to talk about all of it. I've been wanting to make an Animal Jam video for quite a while, considering I spent most of my childhood on it, but I was really shocked at just how many of you requested it. I get messages almost daily asking me to cover Animal Jam, so I'm really excited to cover something that's not only nostalgic for me, but hopefully for you as well. So without further ado, let's get into the Animal Jam deep dive. Before we get into things, I'd just like to give a
Her makeup looks great. Her mouth is freaking me out though.
huge thank you to Scentbird for sponsoring this video. So Scentbird is a month on a shop space Archie and Wrong. We have more for with a
I don't like perfume.
The super convenient bird for sponsoring.
I will not be giving you that. No, we're not doing that. Love you.
In this video, we're going to go over everything from the scammers to the hackers to all the drama and controversy, but first let's start off with a little bit of history. Also, just to preface, I'm going to be talking about Animal Jam in the past tense for most of this because I just associate it with the past because I played it as a kid. The game is still active and running, but I just wanted to explain why I'm going to be referring to it in the past tense. Created in 2010, Animal Jam is a massively multiplayer online world for kids where they can play games, chat with friends, and customize their very own animal character and den. The game was a collaboration between the developer WildWorks and the National Geographic Society, and this was evident from the game's quote-unquote educational nature. The game aimed to teach kids about the environment and natural world by integrating educational content throughout, though let's be honest, none of us really paid attention to it as kids. By 2011,
she got me a little bit. Because there's that one room or whatever where you can like read through like magazines or whatever about specific animals and then take a little quiz to get a prize. I just wanted the prize. I didn't even read them.
and just a year after its launch, AJ had already reached 1 million registered users, and by 2013 that number had skyrocketed to 10 million. In-game, the staff team called themselves AJHQ and managed public relations, updates, and individual user queries. While the game had pretty humble beginnings, it continued to grow and update as the years went on, introducing premium currency systems, new areas and games, and tons of new animals. Weirdly enough, the early timeline of Animal Jam is pretty hard to piece together, as before 2011 there was no update blog or archive, and the update blog that did exist from 2011 to 2016 is no longer publicly available. However, I did manage to piece a lot of it together from fan-made blog spots and Weeblies, and also the Wayback Machine. While the game launched in late 2010, most of that year was taken up with game production and beta testing. We can see from this beta login screen that the iconic blocky art style had been solidified, but in comparison to newer login screens, it's a lot more dark and gritty and kinda mysterious looking. Also, the logo is different. During the beta testing period, there was no membership, and the only 4 locations were Jamar Township, the Lost Temple of Zeos, Crystal Sands, and Seripia, later changed to Seripia Forest. Though locations were limited, it was clear from the map that other areas would soon be released. In the beta, Crystal Sands was a beach with sandy cliff tops instead of a water park, and other locations had small cosmetic differences which would differ in the game's final release. There was also a unique den created specifically for the beta, known as the Beta Den, which was not available upon launch.
That's what the beta party looks like. So that's why it looks like that. Oh my god, it's all coming together.
And has never returned to the game. Beta testing ended on the game's launch date, the 10th of September, but testers were gifted a month of free membership as a thank you. It's also worth noting that the Coral Canyons area was added on the launch day as a sort of celebration / thank you. Information on the rest of 2010 is fairly scarce, other than they made some social media accounts in October, I believe, and they also added achievements in December. Let's move on to 2011. Now, 2011 was a really big year for Animal Jam. In January, the Mount Chevere area was introduced alongside seals turtles in the icy lake that everyone was convinced you could break and it would give you free rares and membership. One huge development that came during this year was the introduction of the trading system in March, but we'll get to that in more depth a little bit later. Apendale was added in April alongside the elephant, and I specifically remember it was around this time that I got my first membership because for some reason the elephant being added was the thing that pushed me over the edge and made me beg my mum to get a membership. I don't know what the appeal was, but it was very powerful. Interestingly, this
he's a funky little guy. Who wouldn't want a funky little guy? I mean, come on. He's a little guy. Apparently, I like the mud. I don't go there very often. I go to nowhere really anymore. But Mount Shiver's my favorite, I think. It's the music. The music in Mount Shiver is so good. Apandale music is also very good. You're right. Now that you mention it, you're right.
They also added members only emotes. I'm actually still kind of obsessed with the regular emotes. Like, I think if someone posted a tweet that was just this, I would lose it, but the members ones were animated and looked pretty nice. Another big update came in June introducing pets. Basically, you could adopt and dress up these little pet companions, and yeah, it was kind of weird since you could like be a seal and get a pet seal and stuff like that. Kind of disconcerting, kind of a goofy Pluto situation, but you know, let's just ignore it and pretend it's fine. Pets never really interested me, but they seem to be a popular incentive for kids to buy premium currency and membership, so they stayed. Then came the Oceans of Jamar update in September of 2011. I remember this being a huge deal at the time, as not only did it introduce a bunch of new areas and animals, but opened up a whole underwater world. I mean, to be honest, looking back, the underwater levels are pretty much identical to the land ones, just with swimming animations instead of walking, but it felt really big. The update added 3 new areas, Crystal Reef, Bahari Bay, and Deep Blue, and introduced dolphins and sharks. In October, adding on to the previous—
oh my god, I forgot sharks existed. Oh no.
This update, a new ocean area called Carney Cove was added alongside turtles in the first ever underwater den. In comparison to the previous year, 2012 was far less exciting, but there were still quite a few updates of note. Horses, penguins, and octopi were released, with snow leopards and arctic wolves being the first animals released as gift card exclusives. Interesting little bit of 2012 money.
Hey, you be nice to the sharks. They're so silly looking. I love the silly animals.
Monkey trivia for ya. Monkeys, which had been one of the 6 original animals from the beta, became endangered in March, with players not being able to buy them anymore. This was supposedly to raise awareness for endangered monkey species in the real world. In August, they were brought back after players had raised over 1 million gems in the conservation center. So hooray! Later on in March, the rare tag was added to various items, which didn't seem like a big deal at the time, but it was huge, and rare trading became another key feature of the game. Most players—
not sharks. So mean.
made it their life goal to collect rares, and entire economies and trading systems were set up around these uncommon items, but we'll get into all that in more depth later. In May of 2013, diamonds were introduced as a premium currency alongside the diamond shop, which sold exclusive animals, den furniture, and apparel. Adventures were also introduced as sort of story-based challenges / quests that you could play through to win gems and prizes. Later that year, in July, Canberra Outback was released alongside kangaroos, which was fitting given its decidedly Australian aesthetic. There's not much else to say about 2013, but one interesting little bit of trivia is that they briefly changed the map style to a more sort of sleek and lineless design, but ended up changing it back to the old version pretty soon after. At this point, I'm just going to discuss 2014 to modern day Animal Jam in one segment, because I feel like there aren't enough huge updates on the timeline to give each year its own segment. The most notable update was probably the Belush update in 2018, which added a whole new swamp theme
I remember when they added
that.
Years
prior to the Belush update, though, AJHQ seemed to focus all of their attention on developing the new updated version of Animal Jam called Play Wild, which became available in early 2015. It was basically a newer version of the game with completely overhauled 3D graphics, available on iOS, Android, and as a PC download. While WildWorks kept the old 2D version of Animal Jam running, now renamed to Animal Jam Classic, they focused most of their attention onto the new 3D remake, which was changed from Play Wild to just Animal Jam. A lot of veteran players saw this as an insult and were pretty upset that the old
tomato.
nostalgic Animal Jam
Go
of their
back.
childhood had been
Fix
put
the
on the
old
back
one.
burner in favor of a new, more monetizable Animal
Thank
Jam.
you for your tomatoes. Thank you for your
Unfortunately,
tomatoes.
neither game can be played through the browser anymore either, which is kind of sad because I feel like that was part of its charm, but they can be downloaded and played, and they can even be downloaded off Steam now. Years later, in 2020, WildWorks came out with an entirely new game called Fer.al.
Everybody look away.
Fer.al, I guess. This game uses a similar art style and aesthetic to Animal Jam, but is marketed towards a slightly older demographic of quote Gen Z teens and is more of a crafting / quest based game rather than focusing on mini games. It still has all of the traits of a virtual world for kids like chatting and house decoration and character customization, and of course copious premium currency purchases.
The character stuff in this game was insane.
Really quite like the whole aesthetic of Fer.al. I played it a while back and it didn't really keep my attention, but the character designs and customization are honestly really cool. From what I can tell, the game is pretty popular, and it seems that WildWorks has succeeded in creating a quote-unquote transitional game from kids growing up on Animal Jam to something a little bit more mature. With multiple apps, games, and properties, despite the fact that Animal Jam hit its peak around 2014, it seems that WildWorks is still running a pretty damn successful business all these years later. But we're not here to talk about Fer.al or Tunnel Town. We're here to talk about the OG Animal Jam. Despite looking relatively inactive according to the stats, the game still has over 3 million active players as of 2020 and is honestly still pretty relevant in today's gaming world. So with all that out of the way, let's move on to the game itself and the community that formed around it.
It's us! We're the 3 million. I don't remember Tunnel Town.
Now I really struggle with how to
I
format
remember
this
playing
section
it, I just
because we are
don't
going to
remember
be
how
talking
to
about a
play
lot
it.
of very key elements of the game and community in their own sections later, so this is just old nostalgic.
I have a very vivid memory. By vivid, I mean vague. I remember the feelings of memories more than the memory itself, if that makes sense. So it's vivid in feeling, not in like what happened. But playing Tunnel Town on my grandma's iPad. Nothing but vibes. Okay, anyway.
Classic Animal Jam things, hence the name of the segment. Let's get into it. First up, the classism. Yeah, we're jumping right in the deep end straight away. Just Animal Jam things. Now, most virtual worlds and MMOs rely heavily on monetization. Premium currencies, memberships, game passes, etc. Animal Jam was no different, and while a lot of players say AJ used to be less money hungry, the game is so corrupt and greedy nowadays, the game was always built with the purpose of making a lot of money. As years went on, more members-only items and gameplay were released, and hundreds of players even held protests when the premium currency diamond shop was introduced. Non-members couldn't buy the newest animals, most clothing items and rares were locked off, they were stuck with the default den and a smaller selection of furniture, and they could only choose from a small selection of pets. Non-members were also very clearly singled out from members, not only because of their more basic appearance, but because of their plain non-gilded nameplates. What WildWorks had created was a very effective system of what was essentially classism that worked on multiple levels to target vulnerable kids and their parents' wallets. Not only was the game more restrictive for non-members, but this weird community culture formed where members were treated as worthy citizens of Jamar and non-members were kind of treated like trash. And if you think I'm being overdramatic or just exaggerating this for the drama of it, I'm really not. A lot of members were absolutely ruthless, often going out of their way to bully or make fun of non-members specifically for being poor. There are some really uncomfortable threads I've seen kids make.
Not my opinion on oh no, okay, I'm gonna read it. Okay, so I think that non-members should be more grateful for the things they have and stop complaining about the things that we members get. Every time I walk into the diamond shop, I see a non-member saying AJHQ should give non-members more stuff, they hate us, or something along the lines of that. It gets really annoying and they just need to stop. If you don't do that, then you can ignore the last part. Also, with the newest update, non-members were complaining in the shops underwater even though they got a new pet and some items in Epic Wonders. I believe that what we get and what non-members don't get are completely fair because we pay for the game and they don't. Feel free to argue with me. Uh-oh. Kids are terrible. That's so funny.
Should stop asking Animal Jam to give them more stuff and just be grateful. So being a non-member basically sucked, and I'm assuming that's why there were so many members in the game. Now leading on from this point, I want to discuss the weird capitalist economy that formed within the game, but before we do that, we have to discuss the trading system and rares. This could honestly get its own section, and Well, you know what? It will get its own section. It's my video. Fuck it.
It's her video. She gets to decide the sections. Oh, the economy.
Using the trade system to acquire rares basically became the whole point of the game, with players spending all of their time feverishly searching for them. When Animal Jam first launched, there was no official trade system, and the only way to trade items was to send each other jamograms with items attached as gifts. Naturally, because this was solely based on trust, and most of the time the other person would never send you their part of the trade, a lot of people got scammed, and so a proper system was implemented. The new trade system was pretty simple. You put the items you want to trade in your trade box, other people do the same, and you can click on each other and initiate a trade. There's an entire wiki based on valuing each item and advising players on just how much they're worth and what's a fair trade, because if you've ever played, you know just how common scamming is. And don't worry, we will get into that later. One of the most popular rare items were long black spikes, which players just call black longs or plainly spikes. These were released
just
back
like
in
the one she's
2011
wearing
as a monthly member gift, and
oh my god, she has one in real life.
The basis of
Are you willing to
Animal Jam
trade?
Rarity. There were no official rarity charts or even different degrees of rarity in the game. They were all just listed as rare, so players made their own system using black spikes to measure rarity. On the Animal Jam item worth wiki, for example, most items are listed by how many long black spikes they're worth. And just to give you an idea of how popular spiked collars were as an item, there are currently over 73,000 comments on the item worth wiki page for them, and there are multiple literal essays on how these items play into the larger Animal Jam trading economy. On that note as well, the trading economy quickly became insane, with tons of like lingo that you needed to know, and every item had a different rarity and you could only figure it out by word of mouth or by being scammed. As the years went on and after I stopped playing, I can only imagine it became more complex, with AJHQ introducing tons of diamond items, rare item Mondays, item re-releases and more. It's basically a whole mess at this point, and unless you were an OG player, you probably wouldn't be able to break into the trading market at all these days. Actually, when you think about it, a lot of virtual worlds for kids and teens quickly become these capitalist nightmares with completely broken economies. Just look at Neopets or Gaia Online, for example. Parents worry about these games like rotting their kids' brains or whatever, but really they need to be worried about their kids transforming into ruthless business moguls. Spiked wristbands, eyeball hats, tail covers / armor, fox hats, blankets, headdresses, and tiki masks were also pretty rare. Yes, Animal Jam has an extensive history of appropriation, and many theorize this is the reason why headdresses were confirmed to never be coming back to the game. I also remember back when I used to play, gloves were like the #1 thing everyone was desperate for. Like they were crazy rare, and everyone in Jamar Township would be screaming about looking for gloves. I don't know why, to me they always just looked like weird clumpy arm casts, but the items that players chose to obsess over were always pretty random and more based on rarity and value rather than looks. However, some of the rarest items in the game were actually magenta items. Despite looking like regular items with a weird full magenta color, these so-called mag items were actually the result of a glitch. The default color for all of the items in the game is magenta before they get colored, and these incredibly rare items are allegedly the result of some AJHQ staff forgetting to correctly add the color codes. Due to their unofficial and accidental nature, these items are often 2 or even 1 of a kind, making them incredibly rare. The chances of getting your hands on the only magenta necklace in existence is basically 0, and when you consider there are mag versions of super rare items like the long spike collar or the furry hat, you can start to understand just how highly valued these mags become. The combination of their scarcity, the fact that they're glitched and technically shouldn't be in the game, and the fact that they just look kinda cool makes these items, in my opinion at least, the most rare items in the game. Okay, trading and rares spill over, let's get back to the original section.
Oh, back to just Animal Jam things. Welcome back.
So now that you're all caught up in the world of trading and rares, let's get back to our original point of classism and capitalism. In the world of Animal Jam, material goods basically determine your worth. The whole point of the game is basically to rise in the ranks by becoming quote-unquote rare by acquiring lots of rare and members-only items. You're judged by how you look and if you have a lot of material goods, and all of these things, the items, the rares, the membership, they all tie back into real-world monetization. I'm not saying Animal Jam is some super evil capitalist hellscape or anything, I'm just saying they use a kind of insidious monetization method where it's not just about paying for better gameplay, but about paying in order to be respected by your peers. It's honestly a really interesting topic that has been discussed multiple times in regards to other virtual worlds and MMOs, like this isn't an exclusive thing to Animal Jam, but I thought it was interesting and worth bringing up. On a lighter note, while we're talking about just Animal Jam things, let's talk about role-playing. While Animal Jam was intended to be an educational learning experience, it had wolves, it had edgy accessories, and planet had forest biomes, so naturally it was going to attract weird deviant kids who roleplayed as wolves on the school playground. You know the ones I'm talking about, and that's coming from a place—
Stop. You can't just say that. She's speaking my experience. What?
Of knowledge because I was one of those ones.
Oh.
There were a bunch of different kinds of roleplays common to AJ, so let's go over a few. First up, adoption roleplays. There was a small room towards the bottom of Jamar Township that was filled with pillows called the Pillow Room, and this quickly became the unofficial official adoption center of the game. Players would usually make themselves the cute—
Plus adopt I am a baby and I will grow. I'm a sweet little angel, cold and lonely. Oh my god.
Animals like bunnies or seals and write like, looking for mommy, please adopt, am orphan. They'd also usually invent some tortured backstory about how they'd been left out in the cold by their heartless parents in order to gain more sympathy. It's kind of hilarious as well because these players would usually write like, looking to be adopted, Arctic wolves only, or snow leopards only, which was basically code for only adopt me if you're a member, and rare because I'm hoping to pull on your heartstrings and form a bond strong enough for you to give me something rare. Players also made adoption centers and orphanages in their own dens and filled them with beds and desks. Like, this was a whole production and really popular and common within the game. Was
really
it kind of
weird
in hindsight? Yes, it was.
Yes,
to
very
be fair,
weird,
these kinds
yeah.
of adoption roleplays are pretty common on other sites too. I talked about it in my Fer.al video, and I remember similar things going down
that was
on, like,
literally
Club
what it was,
Penguin, but
wasn't
in
it?
retrospect, it's still pretty weird. Next up, edgy wolf roleplays. Like I said, AJ really drew in—
I think it's to read that. Go back.
Still pretty weird. Next
Kills you in one instant with my shadow powers and laughs.
up,
No
edgy
miss, no
wolf
dodge.
roleplays. Like I said, AJ really drew in that 3-wolf moon shirt, DeviantArt Sparkle Dog OC howling on the playground demographic of kids,
Takes
so
out
angsty
sword.
wolfpack roleplays were common. These usually went down either in Serapia Forest, which was basically the designated RP zone in the game, or privately in someone's den, which they had decorated to like look like a forest. Now, wolves were by far the most popular animal both in terms of RPs and the game in general, though these were eventually replaced with Arctic wolves and snow leopards, both of which were premium members only animals and therefore better.
I am going to say it. The wolves are fucking ugly, and I hate them. They're ugly. They're bad. They're ugly. I said it. Also, I did do a warrior cat one once. I decorated my den with trees and shit.
Marshmallow looking tigers. I remember there being a ton of snobbery with the different types of animals, like
When warrior cat roleplayers told me I wasn't worth their time because I was a bunny and not a wolf.
only Arctic wolves are able to be the alphas. These roleplays would also be super overpowered and filled with arguments, like every fight would be like, she bites him, ripping off his leg and completely blinding him, no miss, no dodge, back and forth with neither player ever taking any damage or admitting defeat. Good times. Leading on from these wolf RPs, there were also, of course, warrior cats roleplays. If you recognize the phrase,
You may enjoy the wolves if you want, I just think they're ugly. Love you. Oh, I did clans also.
WCRP Serapia, you get a veterans discount. These were honestly pretty similar to wolf roleplays, similarly taking place in Serapia Forest, mainly played by wolf characters and very overpowered and generally filled with arguments. Not much else to say here except if you went to Serapia, there was pretty much always someone begging you to join their warriors clan, and there was even a dedicated Animal Jam Warrior Cats roleplay wiki where all of the clans and lore was listed. Now let's move on to probably what is the funniest and most nostalgic section for me, weirdly, scammers and hackers.
That's so sad. Why is that her most nostalgic section?
It just wouldn't be an Animal Jam video without talking about scamming and hacking. It was ridiculously common in the game, and I think pretty much every player has a story of either being scammed or scamming someone else. As a kid, I honest to God had about probably 50 side accounts that I would use to transfer like gems and stuff to myself, but I registered them all under the same email address, so they caught on pretty quick. I wasn't exactly the criminal mastermind that I thought I was. I also remember being scammed a few times and and one time I logged in and just like all of my items were gone, so I have no idea what that was about. Like I said, most people you talk to will have stories like this, and while it felt devastating and soul crushing at the time, now I feel like we can look back and laugh at it. First, there's trust trading. The scammer will ask you to send one of your good items for one of their bad ones and will reassure you that they're gonna return all of your items after and send you even more rares, you know, totally trustworthy. Sometimes the scammer will go back and forth, like genuinely returning your items to you each time before totally dipping, though sometimes they don't.
Okay, well go ahead. Tell us your scam story. Because it's funny because I don't have any stories like that. I didn't interact with anybody else, typically. Like, I would try to do role plays, but I always failed because nobody wanted to hang with me. It was a rainy day in 5th grade. Oh no, not rain. That's how you know it's gonna be bad.
Don't even bother with the formality of doing that. It sounds like only an idiot would fall for this, and well, this is a kid's game, and well, kids are idiots. I'm kidding, of course, but kids aren't really known for their super deep critical thinking skills at that age and weren't really able to identify scams when they had never encountered them before. Looking back on it, I feel like Animal Jam was the thing that pushed me over the edge and made me into like a cynical, mistrustful person because I got scammed one too many times on there. Animal Jam is where I learned that the world is a cruel, unforgiving place. Another similar method was the I decline all trades scam. The idea was to trade one of your rares for one of their bad items under the presumption that they will in fact decline all trades, when in reality they'll just steal your item and disappear off into the shadows. Again, hard to believe it worked, but it was relatively common. During the early years, it was also possible to get rares by calling up AJHQ and telling them that you'd been scammed.
Wait, I wasn't listening. It's fine.
Scammed out of a bunch of rare items, and I guess they didn't have the resources to check whether that was true, so they'd take you at your word and send you like 3 spiked collars that you'd lost. Now, how well this worked really depended on how willing you were to lie to your parents that you'd been scammed on a virtual game, and how willing they were to call up the game itself. AJHQ did catch on to this as a scamming method though, and eventually they stopped replacing supposedly stolen items, since more than often the kids were just trying to get free stuff.
Okay,
you
but
really
I
gotta
want free
respect
stuff.
the hustle and how far we would go for rares back then. So desperate. Another common scam method, and a pretty ruthless one at that, was to build up trust with a friend before asking, hey, can I try on your super rare beta fox hat for a second? If that friend was gullible enough, they'd send it over, whereupon you would immediately leave and block them forever. Rare competitions were common too, where a scammer would invite players to their den for a quote-unquote competition where the player who sent them the rarest item would win and get a prize. Obviously, there was no real competition, no one was ever getting a prize, and the scammer would collect all of the entries and completely dip, never to be seen again. Now, these scamming methods may seem pathetically obvious, and yeah, they absolutely were. But like I said earlier, this game was filled with kids who were overly trusting and undereducated about what scams even were. After the first few times, you definitely become less trusting and more suspicious, and therefore pretty immune to most scams, and at this point you might have even become the scammer yourself. I made a thread asking people for their Animal Jam experiences and stuff a little while back, and you'd be surprised just how many people openly admitted to scamming their friends. Like I said, it was commonplace back then, and while we can laugh about it now, I do kind of feel like the game made a lot of kids go through their Joker arcs. The insatiable need for spiked collars corrupted us all. Hacking and glitches were also pretty common in the world of Animal Jam, and there are a few fun examples of this. One of the most well-known glitches was a small area in the character color selection box that would allow you to use a secret color. Clicking in a very specific place in the very corner of the lavender box would make your character turn magenta, and another secret color called icy blue could be accessed using the box next to it. I think as kids we all thought we were like super secret hacker guys for finding this out and would wear these glitch colors around to like show off, but in reality pretty much everyone knew about this. I genuinely have no idea if this was some sort of coding mistake or if this was an intentional Easter egg, but it's been there for years and they've never removed it. Another pretty big drama at the time was the user 1231, who had a completely glitched character and would show up completely invisible or as like a glitched monkey model. 1231 became a really popular user for a while, with popular AJ YouTubers speculating over who they were and why they were so glitched, until it was all revealed in a rather surprising way. It turns out that 1231's animal was glitched because the animal in that slot was an unreleased new animal that hadn't even been added to the game yet. Eventually the user's invisible player card became an off-centered llama model with no eyes, which is how everyone found out that llamas were the next animal that were going to be released. So yeah, 1231 kind of spoiled it for everyone. It's assumed that they used a third-party hacking tool to access the llama, and because of all the buzz and attention around them and the fact that they leaked this animal early, Animal Jam quickly banned them. Twitter user Chiptune was kind enough to share a bunch of screenshots that they took around 2018 when the Animal Jam testing rooms were leaked and players were able to go inside. The screenshots all show pretty standard testing room randomness with games and items scattered around the barren level, but there's also a weird area called the Employee Corral with a bunch of names in it. If any game developers know what that means or what it's used for, I would love to know. Chiptune was also able to access the Alpha headquarters before they were released. Animal Jam had tons of little glitches and leaks like this, and for the most part they were all pretty harmless. But the site's numerous flaws became more than just a few goofy leaks in November of 2020 when it was revealed that a hacker had stolen 46 million accounts in a huge data breach. WildWorks didn't even realize this had happened until a month later when they were forced to issue a statement to the public. From a TechCrunch article on the topic, quote, "The company said someone broke into one of its systems that the company uses for employees to communicate with each other and accessed a secret key that allowed the hacker to break into the company's user database. The bad news is that the stolen data is known to be circulating on at least one cybercrime forum," WildWorks said, meaning that malicious hackers may use or be using the stolen information. Much of the stolen data wasn't highly sensitive, but the company warned that 32 million of those stolen records had the player's username, 23.9 million records had the player's gender, 14.8 million records contained the player's birth year, and 5.7 million records had the player's full date of birth. But the company did say the hacker also took 7 million parent email addresses used to manage their kids' accounts. It also said that 12,653 parent accounts had a parent's full name and billing address, and 16,131 parent accounts had a parent's name but no billing address. Besides the billing address, the company said that no other billing data such as financial information was stolen. So not as bad as it could have been, but still pretty severe. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not a developer or coder, nor do I have any knowledge of security for games like Animal Jam, but it feels like it had quite a lot of flaws both in the actual game with glitches and leaks, and in terms of how easy it was to hack player accounts and for data breaches to occur. Speaking of dastardly deeds and rule breaking, let's move on to the wider topic of inappropriate behavior on Animal Jam and the safety concerns that have plagued the website for years. While Animal Jam was advertised as a virtual world for kids and had copious censoring, players obviously found ways around this. Despite being a kids game, there was plenty of inappropriate activity in AJ, a prime example being the Pillow Room. If you played, that phrase just sent shivers down your spine. The Pillow Room was a building in Jamar Township containing a small room with a few pillows on the ground. As we discussed earlier, this room was often used as an adoption center or for adoption roleplays, but it was also often used as a place for two penguins who love each other very much to go, if you catch my drift. Yeah, the quote-unquote roleplays that took here got so graphic that AJHQ had to ban the use of the jumping emote over someone who was using the sleeping emote because, you know. There was also the wider issue of so-called mate begging, which is when Jamar Township would be flooded with like 20 sparkle dogs yelling, "Need a girlfriend, looking for a mate." Most of the time these relationships would be pretty short-lived, and usually at least one person was catfishing, but still mate begging was uncomfortably common. And this rule breaking didn't just stop at the Pillow Room or vaguely creepy roleplays. It was a pretty common trend to use pillows to spell out scandalous words, and there was even a debacle with the paint splatter item where you could color it. Yeah, you know what, I'm gonna stop there. For some unknown reason, they removed the red paint splat item a few days after it went up in order to discourage violent roleplays, but it didn't see any way that this could be misused in some kind of inappropriate manner. Another example of Animal Jam's weird and kind of nonsensical censoring is beds, or the lack of beds. The race car bed and princess beds were the only two bed items in the game, but were quickly removed because apparently adding beds enabled NSFW roleplay. Reminder, this is still in the game. Scullies were also removed due to the fact that they supposedly look like testicles on certain animals. There was also a scandal where Animal Jam was live streaming and accidentally showed their files for a few seconds, 3 of which were named shitballs, which got them into a fair amount of controversy. It's kind of hilarious.
Just move the item, like on the, like they did it with elephants or whatever, like the tusks are where the hand items go. Are Scully still in there?
It's because I can see why kids would find this offensive and scandalous, but like, as an adult, I'm sure we all have completely cluttered PCs and have like 10 billion files named.
My files
like
are so bad.
Honestly,
Don't say anything.
I could go on about Animal Jam's kind of weird censorship from completely innocent words being.
I mean, I guess it was a tail item, but you could just move it, or like if they're sitting, don't show the item. I don't know. Like, I don't know.
To a
Move it to the
of
side.
Random items being taken out of the game for being too violent or too inappropriate. The point is, despite Animal Jam's super intense and kind of random censoring, players still found a way to be nasty because of course they did. It was this kind of behavior that drew the attention of news channel WFLA in 2015. In their now infamous news segment, Animal Jam Game Concerns Mom, a mother explains why she will no longer allow her daughter to play Animal Jam.
It's safe to say this 10-year-old is addicted to Animal Jam. In the game, you create animal avatars in a virtual jungle and talk to other players.
I like the adventures, and I like trading and getting gifts on there.
I mean, this is really sexually exploiting children.
But this young girl's mother believes some players in the game go too far with their graphic sexually charged conversations, using code words to avoid detection.
There are filters on there, but still, unless you're actually saying sex, it's not going to catch it.
Dawn is not letting her daughter play Animal Jam anymore, and she'd like to see the game pulled.
I'm angry. Yeah. I am angry because there's lots of children out there.
Though arguably one of the funniest news articles I've seen.
This avatar says he pulls his pencil out. Another one says she takes off her bar instead of bra. This one says they start snogging again.
It did raise some valid concerns. While a lot of people dismiss articles like this as just boomers panicking over a dumb kids game, all virtual worlds have their dangers and risks, and I've heard plenty of stories of children falling victims to creeps on Animal Jam. I don't think that parents should ban their kids from playing these games. Like me and thousands of other kids have completely fine experiences on them, but you just need to be careful. I'm not going to be covering any specific situations out of respect for the victims, but the moral is, a lot of the stuff is goofy and funny in retrospect, but these spaces can still be pretty unsafe for kids, and it's really important to look out for them and also look out for yourself when you're online, and please be safe.
Thanks, Queen. I will be so safe. Oh my god. Urban legends. The Animal Jam lore.
Given the young demographic of a lot of these virtual world sites, rumors and urban legends are very quick to spread. The Webkinz Killer and tipping the iceberg on Club Penguin are just a few examples that come to mind, and Animal Jam was no different. I'd like to know here that when researching this section, I stumbled back across all of these wonderful old fan-made Animal Jam blogspot websites with articles on how to get free items or guides to various urban legends. It honestly makes me miss when the internet was less like centralized to just Twitter and Facebook or whatever, and instead everyone had their own lovingly handcrafted Weebly site. We should bring that back. Anyway, some of the most common urban legends in Animal Jam were those that promised players free memberships or rare items if they could break the ice on Mount Chevere or the bridge at Coral Canyon. In both cases, jumping made them crack and appear like they were breaking, leading players to believe that this was a sign to keep going. Some believe that you needed an entire room to be jumping at the same time, so you got these massive jumping parties where everyone would be yelling like, break the ice, keep jumping, and it was all very epic and cinematic in our heads. Animal Jam HQ actually never spoke up about the validity of these rumors, and in fact kind of fueled the fire with this cryptic message which seemed to imply that they were true, which they weren't, so that was pretty weird. I guess they were doing a little trolling. Of course some kids would lie and be like, yeah, my second cousin's brother's friend's buddy Eric actually broke the ice and got a magenta glove and a lifetime membership, which everyone else would take at face value because we were kids, so back to the ice we would go. A similar rumor started in 2013 with the grand opening of the premium diamond shop, where a legend spread that if you turned your entire character white and danced on the diamond-shaped tiles, you'd get free diamonds. This was a super popular rumor for a while, running so rampant that AJHQ actually did speak out and confirm that it wasn't true, so players would stop flooding the room to the point of lagging. Those urban legends are pretty typical of virtual worlds. I feel like most games have some rumor where like you gotta wear a certain outfit and jump in the corner and you'll get 10 free rares, and a lifetime free membership. And while Animal Jam did have a ton of these rumors, it also had a lot that were on the darker and more sinister side. Take for example the infamous legend of F-Man 122, by far the most widespread and mysterious urban legend on Animal Jam. If you were a jammer back in the day, your worst fear was coming across this guy. The story went that a shadowy black and red wolf character called Awesome Sunny Brave with the username Fman122 would send you a jammogram mail with the message, "Thanks for playing with me." This jammogram would often contain a necklace as a gift, which once opened would infect the player's PC with a virus, take over their account, delete all their animals and items, and trade all of their rares to F-Man's main account. Basically, he was a big, bad, scary hacker man, and no one knew who or what he was, or if he was even real. Weirdly, a sort of fan base formed around F-Man122, and players started shipping themselves with him and like thirsting over him. F-Man122 is a Tumblr sexy man confirmed. Aside from that, though, there's a surprising amount of fan art and fan creepypastas dedicated to the character, and it's clear that he was incredibly popular back in the day. As for whether or not he's real, well, there are conflicting accounts. There are plenty of screenshots of the hacker out there, and on multiple occasions people have been able to get into his den, but it's entirely possible that those are imposters or even just edited photos. There are also plenty of accounts of people seeing or being friends with or even being F-Man, but I feel like kids are pretty prone to lying about goofy stuff like this for like attention or just for fun, so without definite proof it's really hard to know. There's no doubt that hacking and glitches were rampant back then, but these mainly came in the form of other players scamming you or falling victim to free membership and free rare phishing sites. I don't even think it's possible to do what F-Man was supposedly doing, like glitching a jammogram so it would infect someone's entire PC. Either way, the identity of Animal Jam's boogeyman remains a mystery to this day. Out of interest, if anyone genuinely did have any F-Man experiences, let me know in the comments, because I genuinely do want to know. You know, maybe he's still out there. Weirdly, another almost identical hacker popped up a few years later in 2015 called Richard Jungle. Their character looked like a carbon copy of F-Man122's, except it was a tiger, and they became infamous for hacking famous Animal Jam players. According to a video that Animal Jam YouTuber Apari made, the hacker was only active for a few days but managed to hack multiple accounts and even caused the servers to go offline for a short time. Richard Jungle's targets included Beppa, Wootmoo, Julian2, and Wisteria Moon, with the hacker even banning Julian2's account. Naturally, the fact that they targeted super popular Animal Jam influencers made them and the entire situation go viral within the fandom, and Richard Jungle joined F-Man122 in the hall of mysterious, terrifying hackers that haunted kids' dreams. There were a few theories behind the mysterious figure, including that he was the second coming of F-Man, some sort of deep web creepypasta glitch completely made up, or the most prominent theory, the account was run by the infamous hacking group Mighty Squad. While Mighty Squad did come out and claim that they were behind the account, they never actually provided any proof, so the true identity of Richard Jungle still remains a mystery. As you can tell by this point, rumors of mysterious and powerful hackers were very popular within the community, and this trend spawned another urban legend, the Lost Jammer. Allegedly, the Lost Jammer used a wolf character with fur darker than you could choose in the username Decompose1. You could supposedly summon him by placing 3 tiki torches around a pillow, and there were even multiple clickbaity videos like "Summoning the Lost Jammer at 3 AM, you won't believe what happened." The damage that J-Station did to an entire generation of kids is unforgivable. Anyway, this story was obviously just a cheap creepypasta made to scare kids by riding on the coattails of F-Man122, but that leads us into the wider discussion of Animal Jam creepypasta. The game actually has its own creepypasta wiki for spooky urban legends and stories, and it's totally brilliant. I'm so excited. On one hand, it's really cool to see so many young writers getting into the internet horror genre and putting their stuff out there, but on the other hand, some of it is pretty funny. We have incredible titles such as Benzie9876, A True Story, Blood on the Club Geo's Dance Floor, and 5 installments of the award-winning Cartwheel the Lonely Koala series. Okay, I fully take my sarcasm back after seeing this image. I'm shaking in my boots. I tried to get into my friend's den, but I was loaded into a dark room. I was alone in there, and it was very terrifying. Bad 2 cents horror. Sorry for reading that one. You guys probably won't even sleep tonight now. Here's another little excerpt from a story called Don't Break the Ice. My animal screamed as Greeley got up to his paws as blood dripped from his torn stomach. His eyes were pitch black with a tiny red iris. The eyes were dripping black blood as I screamed as well. The other jammers watched in horror. Greeley tore my animal's head off as blood-red pixels came rushing from the neck. Greeley looked at me through the screen, and I felt breathing on my neck. My heart pounded fast, sending a message to my brain saying, "Don't turn around." Then the next thing I knew was that my headphones were pulled off and thrown at the floor as someone whispered in my ear, "Don't break the ice." Not even once, period. Wow, I can't believe I made a creepypasta and it turned out to be good. Don't delude yourself, kid. The story is a steaming pile of crap. Things are heating up in the Animal Jam creepypasta wiki, I see. It's all very Sonic.exe. Most of the creepypastas revolve around mysterious hackers or the in-game characters becoming sentient and enacting violence on the author, or some variation on the hyper-realistic blood eyes trope. Funny. But that's what creepypasta is all about, and to be honest, I earnestly love all of the stories on here. And these stories are still getting regular comments by kids saying how scary they are, so I'm really glad that a whole new generation of kids is able to enjoy these spooky stories. Though you tend to outgrow this kind of stuff a little bit, I still remember being 10 and being terrified by these deep web spooky hacker man stories, so I'm glad to see the tradition is alive and well. I honestly highly recommend the creepypasta wiki. All the stories there are great and it's a blast to read.
I love creepypastas. I didn't know that they had those. That's so fun. Ambassador drama.
In this modern day and age, there are influences for everything.
What are you doing
Art
here?
influences, beauty influences, goop influences, and this was no different for Animal Jam, with several players gaining huge popularity within the community for their social media presences. I remember as a kid, players like Julian2AJ, Apari, Wisteria Moon, and Beppa were all huge deals, and they almost felt like these super rare, super cool celebrities. Probably because I was a kid and it's really easy to idolize internet figures when you're a kid, so I saw them as these sort of mythical godlike beings.
I still do
and
that.
This was kind of reinforced by Animal Jam themselves when they were all given a special title. Jambassador. According to the Animal Jam YouTube account, to become a Jambassador you need to have over 2,000 followers, be at least 13 years old, follow Animal Jam's rules, and regularly post age appropriate content. So I mean, technically I could become a Jambassador. Animal Jam? Hit me up? Or maybe not. Despite how kind of low the bar for entry seems, back in the day the follower threshold used to actually be 10,000, and they were really selective over their Jambassadors. In fact, in over 10 years there's only been around 20 Jambassadors. This role got them all kinds of bonuses, from being gifted super rare items to getting official art made of their characters to even getting their own limited edition claw machine plushies.
The claw plushies are really cool.
Comes great drama, and despite the fact that these Jambassadors had to keep a very sanitized and child-friendly image, there was a lot of drama and scandal that surrounded them. One of the most popular and controversial Jambassadors was Julian2AJ. Julian rose to the top by posting AJ update videos, top 10, skits, and a series he invented called Mail Time. Since he received a lot of mail and gifts in the game, he decided to turn it into a series by opening them up on video, kind of like a virtual unboxing. This was the first sign of trouble for the budding content creator, as Animal Jam banned him and claimed that these mail times constituted scams and encouraged other users to host fake mail times as a way to scam people. Julian was banned twice more on his main account, firstly for having personal information in his username, which AJHQ later allowed due to his large following, and secondly to perform quote maintenance on his account for unknown reasons. He was also suspended multiple times for giving out his Skype, as AJHQ were very strict on players giving out any personal details. However, the biggest controversy was yet to come, as in 2017 Julian made a video titled "This Should Not Be Allowed in Animal Jam," discussing the topiary items and how they can be positioned to look like they're having fun in a striped club, if you catch my drift. This video was in good faith and intended to point out why these items should be removed or changed by AJHQ, but the content combined with the pretty graphic thumbnail offended them so badly that they banned Julian for 2 weeks and completely removed his Jambassador privileges. He was removed from the HQ group chat, removed from the channel banner, and all art, videos, and mentions of him were completely—
the Julian 2 controversy. Or whatever, and how you put the
scrubbed. There's also a wiki page of all of the current and past Jambassadors, and Julian isn't even mentioned on that. Seems like a bit of revisionist history to me, wiki admins. Obviously devastated, Julian made a rather scathing post directed at AJHQ on Animal Jam, calling them out for using him as an asset for free advertising before dropping him. Honestly, I can see both sides.
That's a good point.
On one hand, it did seem that Animal Jam had a kind of weird and unprofessional relationship with their Jambassadors, putting a lot of responsibility on them to be these official community figures, when in reality a lot of them were just kids. I don't exactly know what communication was like between AJHQ and the Jambassadors, but it does seem pretty ruthless to wait 2 weeks before completely banning and kicking Julian out of the Jambassadors with no warning. Seems like something they maybe should have dealt with privately. On the other hand though, the game is targeted towards kids, and I'm sure a lot of under 13s both played and watched Julian's videos, so that thumbnail and the content of the video weren't really appropriate for that audience. Either way, because because of a combination of being kicked out of the Jambassadors and steadily declining views, Julian made the decision to quit YouTube. Wisteria Moon was another super popular Jambassador and actually still makes Animal Jam content, but has steered a bit more towards general gaming and streaming. Snowy Claw was a Jambassador and YouTuber who actually became an intern at AJHQ around 2016 and now works full-time at WildWorks. This was a pretty big deal as it was the first time a Jambassador had actually graduated to full-time work within the company, and it caused a fair amount of buzz. Apari was by far the most popular Jambassador, and his channel became the most subscribed to Animal Jam channel of all time in 2016. His sister Beppa was also a popular e-celeb and Jambassador, but received quite a lot of hate throughout her career due to her admitting that she used to be a scammer. Now, a lot of the drama surrounding these two actually came after both of them became inactive, with Apari becoming a SoundCloud rapper and a quote-unquote drug addict because he went on some live stream and made some super cool and edgy comments about drugs.
That's so funny.
I like Adderall. I get a bunch of bad thoughts in my head when I smoke weed.
I get a bunch of bad thoughts in my head when I smoke weed. He transitioned from family-friendly Animal Jam content to pretty stock standard SoundCloud rap photos, which were obviously not appropriate for kids and gained him a lot of hate.
Funny.
There is a conversation to be had about shifting into making sort of inappropriate content when you've cultivated a fan base of children, but you know, whatever he chooses to do in his spare time, which mainly seems to be vaping, is his business. Next, we're going to talk about Scorm, and this is unrelated, but when I had my outline for this video written, I labeled this section talk about smork or whatever. He's not called Smork, he's called Scorm. I just had it wrong in my head. Anyway, Scorm was a pretty popular YouTuber and public figure in the Animal Jam community, but was suddenly banned alongside Jambassador Typical Rocky and a few other popular users for selling Animal Jam items for real money on eBay, with Scorm himself allegedly earning over $2,000 from selling. Now obviously off-site selling is a bannable offense, and while originally the accounts were suspended for a few days, AJHQ decided to turn this into a 20-day ban. Then in a shocking twist, this 20-day ban turned into a permanent ban, and Scorm totally lost it, taking to Instagram to accuse Apari of orchestrating the whole thing. AJHQ themselves actually had to step in and make an Instagram post confirming that no, they don't just ban people because YouTubers tell them to, they ban them for legitimate reasons. However, this decision was called out as hypocritical since Apari himself had been accused of buying items on eBay but never received any repercussions from that, raising the issue of favoritism from the Jambassadors. If you haven't caught on by this point, Animal Jam HQ has a history of kind of dubious decision making. A lot of players actually pretty actively dislike AJHQ for their decisions to remove certain beloved gameplay elements, add too much monetization, or for how they treat their Jambassadors, whether that be too harshly or not harshly enough. They just seem like scum. At this point, most of the original Jambassadors have moved on since they started playing as kids and have now kind of outgrown the game. It's natural that some things that you're really passionate about as a kid kind of fade away as you grow up and evolve as a person, not to mention the fact that a lot of these Jambassadors were heading off to college or starting full-time work. Though the passage of time and growing up was inevitably going to make these Jambassadors lose passion, copper was another huge contributing factor. We talked about this in My Littlest Pet Shop deep dive, but a lot of creators who focused
her My Littlest Pet Shop deep dive? What the f- I want My Little
toys
Pet
or
Shop
games
deep
got
dive?
fully demonetized and had their comments shut down because of the Children's Online Privacy and Protection Act, or COPPA. This law was basically designed to protect children's privacy and safety online, which is good in theory but has resulted in the complete destruction of thousands of channels whose content is deemed for children. This means even if you're a fully grown adult making Animal Jam content, or the content is on the more mature side, it's still deemed for kids because
I'm
it's
excited.
a
I
kid's
want to
game,
watch
and
more
that
of her
means the
stuff
views
now.
and the revenue are halved. Feelings of boredom after playing the same game for years, frustration at AJHQ's decisions, growing out of the more child-focused game, their lives becoming busier through high school and college, and COPPA were all huge contributing factors to why a lot of the Jambassadors quit. Honestly, it was probably a really hard decision for them to say goodbye to something that was so important to them when growing up, and I really respect their decision to, you know, do what's best for their own well-being. It's pretty sad, but it's nice that a lot of them are still very public about their love for and fond memories with the game, even if it doesn't play an active part in their life anymore. Now, this last drama doesn't really relate to the Jambassadors, but it does involve a famous person. That's right, we're talking about the 2018 Quackity raids. Now, Quackity is... he makes Minecraft content. Is he one of these dream SMP boys you guys are always talking about? Never mind, don't answer that, I don't want to know. The point is, the dude is famous, and with over 4 million Twitch subscribers and 5 million YouTube subscribers, he has a lot of influence. And he uses this influence to raid children's games, from Movie Star Planet to Club Penguin to, yes, Animal Jam. In December of 2018, Quackity conducted the biggest raid on Animal Jam to date, sending the mods into a panic, enraging the community, and going completely viral. Now, the Animal Jam mods were already well aware of the raid before it occurred, and immediately went on the offensive, banning the words quack, quackity, and even the letter Q from the chat. They also updated their FAQ page to try and assure players that there was nothing to worry about and that the servers wouldn't be going down. Upon seeing both Animal Jam HQ and Quackity's army preparing for the raid, users began posting PSAs on social media warning players about the impending disaster. When it began, participants completely flooded the servers dressed as yellow penguins and spammed as many uncensored words as they could, flooding the servers with inappropriate language. Quackity then encouraged his Twitter followers to spam the Animal Jam Twitter account with the hashtag #DuckRights, which almost immediately began trending in the United States. Back in the game, the raiders were finding new and inventive ways to bypass the filter, and it was clear that AJHQ were in panic mode. Whenever the streamer would use a new phrase, it would be banned seconds after, showing that the staff team were all actively working to censor and shut down this raid in-game. I think the record set on that stream was like 20 seconds after something was typed, it immediately got banned. Finally, HQ fully banned Quackity's IP, to which he responded by sending his army of child fans to spam hashtag piss on Animal Jam, which began trending worldwide. Eventually, the raids did end, and AJHQ ended up unbanning Quackity after he got a third hashtag trending, hashtag #DuckYouAnimalJam, but the damage had already been done, with servers overloaded and many innocent players banned. For months afterwards, young players of Animal Jam sent hate towards Quackity for trying to attack their precious game, and he kind of became public enemy #1 within the community. Now they're all probably Quackity stans posting fan cams on Twitter. How
Not
soon
Quackity
you forget. Summing up all of the Jambassador drama, honestly most of it is just petty kid stuff. You'll find hate on pretty much every Jambassador no matter how clean their record is, and I think that's for a few reasons. Jealousy plays a big role. I mean, when you're 9 and all you want in the world is to be cool on Animal Jam, seeing other kids like you getting preferential treatment from the staff themselves is pretty rough. I think a lot of unfounded hate comes from that kind of jealousy, but a lot of it also comes from these kids seeing the Jambassadors as role models. As a kid, I'm sure it's really shocking and disappointing to see your favorite family-friendly YouTuber go from Animal Jam lore videos to talking about weed and pissing on a live stream.
I'm gonna take a piss while I'm on live stream.
Or seeing someone who you thought had the perfect life and an amazing loving fan base and tons of views suddenly decide to quit because it's not fulfilling anymore. While we understand that these creators are real people going through the motions of growing up and evolving as people, kids just see things in black and white and they see their favorite creator is bad now, or they're abandoning them. Like I said earlier, I'm glad a lot of these creators have moved on to greener pastures while still being able to look back fondly on their days as an Animal Jam influencer.
I don't think they should have let... How old were... Oh god, we're almost done. How old were the Jambassadors? They looked really young. I don't think they should have let them be that young while being that famous on a kid's game. Yeah, if they were kids, that feels scummy and wrong to me. Especially if they... we're like doing marketing and advertising to get this game to pushed out to more kids. It just I don't like that at all. Ugh. Yucky.
While Jambassadors and Animal Jam influencers took up a large chunk of YouTube content, there was still a lot of other stuff out there for Animal Jam fans. AJMVs, or Animal Jam music videos, were green screen edits of Animal Jam characters jumping or dancing while typing out the lyrics to a song, usually with some kind of Windows Movie Maker editing in the background. The videos were usually set to some kind of very 2010s pop/emo song, and they're also really funny because you can tell the players that made these just decked out their character and all the garish clashing rares they had just to show show off. I remember being invited to people's dens on multiple occasions and they'd make you type out lyrics for their AJMV as they recorded on like Screencast-O-Matic and 420p with the sound quality of a Nokia. Some of the most popular videos from this category include Wrecking Ball AJMV and the Animals AJMV. Get it? Because they're animals, but it's like animals from Maroon 5. It's clever.
Oh my god.
There were also, of course, Animal Jam's sad story videos, usually followed by Will Make You Cry in brackets. These are basically stories told through Animal Jam using the player avatars as characters and the chat box as dialogue. In this genre, you'll find sad adoption stories, depressed teens, and tragic love stories where someone dies in the end, all classic tales that tug on the heartstrings. The most popular video of this genre, and honestly probably the most popular and well-known Animal Jam video full stop, is Brave, Animal Jam short film by Wisteria Moon. This is the video that launched her career basically, and the comments are flooded with nostalgia posting because of just how popular this was back in the day. This video is iconic for so many reasons, from the cliched tragic love story plot to the fact that both of the love interests address the exact same, to the depressing song of choice being 1,000 Years by Christina Perry, just like every other sad story AMV made in the 2010s. By 2016, Animal Jam had identified that their user base was mainly comprised of MS Paint Wolf artists, so they introduced masterpieces, a new gameplay feature which allowed players to create artwork which they could then display and show off to other players. This was actually a stroke of genius and really sparked the community, as floods of masterpiece themed videos filled YouTube, from speed paints to ranking videos, and of course videos covering the most scandalous and or spooky pieces of art in the game. Obviously Animal Jam had rules around these masterpieces. You couldn't make anything graphic or violent or rude, but obviously players made it their life goal to push these rules to the very limit. Top 10 creepy masterpieces. Top 10 masterpieces that shouldn't have been approved. There were also plenty of videos on the best masterpieces, and while this did spawn probably the funniest thumbnail I've ever seen in my life, these videos were actually really nice. They just spent the whole time showing off really cool art and complimenting the artist, and to be fair, given how limited Animal Jam's art studio was, some of this art is breathtaking. Like, look at this. The in-game art studio is basically on par with like MS Paint, just to give you an idea of how much skill goes into something like this. Now, a lot of players were heavily influenced by YouTubers like Julian2AJ, Apari, and Beppa, and posted similar videos doing mail time, scam videos, roleplays, skits, Girl Died in Animal Jam, and of course theory videos. Animal Jam had its own lore relating to the land of Jamar and these evil creatures called phantoms, and the alphas who were like the heroes who fought them off. Peck is dead. Greeley killed Peck. Humans were in Jamar. Animal Jam conspiracy theory. Is Animal Jam actually Zootopia? These videos were basically the game theory of the Animal Jam cinematic universe, just proposing these really outlandish theories with little to no evidence, but honestly they were all in good fun and pretty entertaining. Also, that character Greeley was one of the alphas and was kind of like F-Man 122 in that he was this edgy wolf character that got a lot of art made of him and was weirdly kind of verging on being a sexy man. This is evident when you cross over to the animation/animatic side of Animal Jam YouTube and see that one of the most popular animatics in the fandom is about Greeley. Alongside the multitude of animated skits, sad stories, and music videos, there are also tons of maps, aka multi-animator projects. These projects are still going strong to this day, so it's honestly really cool to see that the AJ art community is alive and well even after all of these years. Like I've talked about in my LPS and Warrior Cats videos, a lot of people brush these videos and artworks off as cringe because they're made by kids or made about a kids game, but I think that's a reductive view. I honestly love this kind of art because it's so earnest and there's so much passion, and I miss the days where I could churn out an MS Paint animatic in like 4 days. From the edgy 2010s love stories to the animatics and animations to the top 10s to the theories, the YouTube community on Animal Jam is something I'll always hold pretty close to my heart.
Oh my god. Me too. Okay, we have to play after we're done with the videos.
Animal Jam is not a perfect game, and it absolutely has flaws. As we've discussed, there's no shortage of drama and scandal surrounding the game, and over the years it's been in hot water on more than one occasion. But Animal Jam is also really cool in that it's inspired so many people to start creating and pursuing art and writing. People have made lifelong friends in Animal Jam, a kids' edutainment game from National Geographic, and I find that pretty amazing. The game's been around for a long time, and while most can agree that it's past its golden years, rise and on the decline, the community is still going pretty strong and creating cool things to this day. If that isn't a testament to how beloved AJ is, I don't know what is. Like most of the communities I talk about, from Littlest Pet Shop to Warrior Cats, it's really the community and the fan base that makes the game what it is. It wouldn't be Animal Jam without players screaming about Warrior Cats roleplays in Seripia Forest, or writing over-the-top Animal Jam creepypastas, or posting trade offers in
how to be a heartbreaker.
I even look back on the scamming with fondness. I can laugh about how hilarious it is that I fell for a trust trade, or that I thought using side accounts made me some sort of mastermind hacker, and it's cool that a lot of other people can look back and laugh as well. As I said, Animal Jam was and is not a perfect game by any measure, and there's a lot of criticism to be made about various aspects of it, but at the end of the day, it's where I spent my childhood, and I'm always going to have a lot of nostalgia for it. The golden days of AJ were truly unmatched, and I'm really glad that I could take you all along for a little trip back in time. If you have any Animal Jam memories, or there are some dramas or stories that I forgot to mention in this video, definitely let me know in the comments. I'm honestly really excited to see discussion from people who haven't played, from old players who have played, from people who still play. I'm just genuinely excited to be back with the community and see what everyone has to say. Thank you so much for watching.
Hold on, let me Google it. Let me see. Well, let me spell it right. Hollow. I think they're making a remake. Don't. Hold on. This is their official Tumblr. June 4th of what year? 2020. Yeah, some people take like old games or whatever, and they do like rewrittens or whatever. So if you've ever heard of like Toontown, or I'm sure everybody here's at least heard of Club Penguin. But Club Penguin's rewrite was shut down. So it's like people outside of the original group, like passionate people about the game, they take it and then they continue to run it outside of it. So I think this is what this is. I don't know if they're actually going to be able to do it, but it looks like they're trying. But yeah, who knows? Who knows? I love when people do that. It's so fun. I played Toontown Rewritten. Okay. Okay. It's Feral time, baby. Yeah, I mean, they don't really rebuild the game. They just kind of take the old code and then fuck with it. Probably at least a little. Because I know Toontown is pretty much almost exactly identical as it was before. And then, the Club Penguin I know is exactly the same. But it is really cool that people want to do that with games. Somebody needs to do it with Papa Sushiria, because it's not available to play anymore since its flesh has died. I miss her so much. Bring her back. And of course that game company, Flipline Studios, the people who did all of the Paparia games, they decided to just move to mobile games. And of course you have to fucking pay for them, which sucks. And they're also ass. Because I got Freezeria once, and I was like, I want to play Freezeria on my phone during my breaks at work. One, I didn't do that. Two, Daddy Pizzeria, stop. And two, it sucked and was hard to play because it was on a tiny little phone screen. It was bad.
2019, WildWorks, the creators behind legendary kids virtual world Animal Jam, announced a brand new
It's part 2, baby.
Fer.al, or just Fer.al for the purposes of this video, took the stylized art and story themes of Animal Jam and adapted them into a more advanced and content-packed 3D world.
I don't want to be like, I played Fer.al, making me an expert, but I did. Not for very long. but long enough to have noticed at least a couple changes in the game. But I'm excited to see what happened.
This was a fantastic move, not only because the beautiful and expansive world
Congrats! I love
audience, but
Paparia
because it drew
games.
back the old audience of Animal Jam players that had grown up and out of the simplistic child's game. This was a natural and much needed evolution, with unique new creatures to play as, extensive home and character customization,
yes.
collecting and crafting, and a more mature tone. Fer.al drew in old and new players by the thousands and made a name for itself as a popular and well-liked game with a bright future. And just a few weeks ago, the community imploded and spiraled into hell as the game closed down permanently overnight and left the players who had supported it for years in the dark. Unbeknownst to them, Wildworks had been working on a secret project called Cinder, and to their horror, this was revealed to be a crypto and NFT based game. But that's only the tip of the iceberg, and today we'll be looking at the failures, lies, and scandals that led to the shocking decision, as well as the firestorm that ensued afterwards. In just a few months, Wildworks went from an iconic and beloved game studio with a bright future for their new game to a shell of their former selves, having lost their dignity, their entire player base, and all of the goodwill that they once had. Today, let's tackle the trash fire that is Fer.al and how the beloved game fell from grace.
It wasn't a very old game.
I just want to give a huge thank you to Switchcraft for sponsoring this video. Switchcraft is a gorgeous and gripping—
No, we're not doing this. Sorry. Especially now that I know that it's a fucking match 3 game. Kill yourself. Oh. I hate match 3 games.
Has been shut down, the developers are radio silent, and the entire community is collectively freaking out like it's the 3D multiplayer furry apocalypse. But how exactly did we get to this point? Well, let's rewind all the way back to 2010 with the launch of Animal Jam. Animal Jam is an educational virtual world for kids developed by Wildworks in collaboration with National Geographic.
Oh, what the fuck? Pike is just standing there.
I made a video about Animal Jam since I was an avid player as a kid, but the long and short of it is that Animal Jam got very popular very quickly. By 2011, less than a year after its launch, it had over 1 million players, and from there the numbers grew exponentially. Today there's over 130 million registered players globally, a huge fan base of artists, writers, and content creators.
The pandas are so stupid looking. I love them.
Generated through in-game purchases. And speaking of in-game purchases, which will come up a lot in this video, Animal Jam was no stranger to them, and they were also no stranger to criticism. The game, like many other virtual worlds for kids, has been accused of having a predatory pay-to-play model with items and gameplay locked behind membership and premium currency paywalls. I know most games have this, but Animal Jam
gummy bears, that's so
to the
cute.
Point where it was common for kids to bully non-members or those with quote-unquote poor clothes. The criticism towards AJ didn't just stop at paywalls. They got on hot water for bugs and glitches, bad PR and moderation, and questionable decisions about gameplay features. And if you're wondering why I'm bringing all of this up, it's because all of these issues are going to come up again when we discuss Fer.al.
Oh, good.
Animal Jam was incredibly popular and profitable, riding off the kids' virtual world boom of the 2010s, though after hitting its peak around 2014, numbers gradually began to decline. We've seen a lot of iconic virtual worlds shut down.
I remember that one.
And that's because their audiences have simply aged up and out of them. The kids
that one was ass. I didn't play for very long.
Animal Jam in the 2010s are adults now. They have jobs and relationships and school and responsibilities. At least most of them.
I still play.
This, in combination with the fact that kids' virtual worlds just aren't quite as popular as they were in the 2010s, meant that Animal Jam was losing a lot of dedicated players and not really gaining them back, leading to dropping player numbers. Which leads us to, the development of Fer.al. Wildworks had dipped their toes into the pool of 3D online worlds with their 3D remake of Animal Jam, but Fer.al was an entirely new IP with beautiful open levels, unique creatures, and far more in-depth customization. It shared a similar art style and nature/animal based focus, but stripped away the heavy censorship and educational tone, instead emphasizing a more mature tone and an older target demographic. Role-playing was not only possible but openly encouraged and advertised as a feature, and gathering, crafting, and quest mechanics gave the game a more structured RPG-like feel. Not only was the game more open and, let's face it, fun, but it was far more hip with the kids. Unlike Animal Jam, which had worked hard to maintain a very squeaky clean corporate image to appeal to parents, Fer.al was for cool older kids and had a big Discord where all the players and staff could hang out and chat. It was far more casual, and it was a really good way for the creators and developers to build up a good rapport and friendship with the players. Of course, the Discord would come back to bite them in the ass later, but we'll get to that. Fer.al launched its closed beta
so
test
excited.
on December
I wish I'd
17th,
been there. What the fuck?
which players had to sign up for and be invited to, with Animal Jam influencers and Jambassadors being some of the first to receive invites. Regular players were invited in waves over the next few months, which was great for both testing the servers and building
lockpicking aspects.
Though the game was admittedly buggy and rough around the edges, that's what beta tests are for, and the team at WildWorks were extremely receptive towards player feedback and had dedicated feedback and bug report pages available. Staff were fairly active and updates and communication were frequent, which is definitely key to building player trust and goodwill at an early stage. This goodwill was tested though when WildWorks introduced the dragon avatar as the first paid item into the game.
I remember when
April
you had
14th.
to start paying for things that pissed me off.
That they, as beta testers, were being forced to pay for the content that they were meant to be testing and felt it was inappropriate for a very unpolished early beta game to have paid content. Still, despite
it's
the
all
$5
me,
price
baby.
tag, the dragon avatar was well received, and the number of players willing to pay for the premium item gave WildWorks the green light to continue monetizing their pre-release game. Shortly after this, on May the 20th, the closed beta came to an end and Fer.al officially opened up its early access build to the public. Just as the name suggests, the game was still in a very early access state. It was very bare bones, it had a lot of bugs and glitches, and it had a lot of content planned for the future. And though players flooded in by the thousands, little did they know that the game would never come out of early access.
It was really boring. Like, the game had a lot of potential or whatever, and it had like one quest per area, and there was like at least 3 areas that they never ended up adding that really needed to be added because like they were very similar in nature. And it was boring if you didn't like playing for the sake of hanging out with other people. There was nothing to do.
It seemed like WildWorks' decision to shut down Fer.al was completely random and out of the blue, but there were issues from day one that hinted at larger, more worrying problems with development. We're gonna go a lot more in depth later, but basically Fer.al's 3 big problems were questionable development and gameplay decisions, lack of money, and poor communication. These issues were all intertwined.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like, they had the opportunity to make this a decent game, but I do think there are like quick desire for money was not great, because like the when I was finally able to play, because I had been trying to sign up for the beta for ages. I was like, please let me play the beta, please let me play the beta, please let me play, because I wanted to play, because I thought it was really cool that they were doing the older kid version of Animal Jam, and I wanted to see what it was like, and it was really cool to be there when it happened, if you will. But like from the get, they had like monetization aspects of it that felt stupid and I didn't understand, so I just never bothered spending any money on it, because like it was dumb. Beta plus. Yeah, they had a website you punched in your email and they'd send you a link to it. They never gave it to me. They had to open the game before I was able to play.
And all of the dramas that we're about to cover generally fit under one or
it was
more
because
of these
the game failed because I wasn't in it.
There's a lot to cover here, and I promise that this context is necessary and will be important later, so let's just go chronologically through 2 years of red flags in the lead up to the shutdown of Fer.al. By June, the game had been going strong for a few months, and staff player morale was at an all-time high.
Fer.al can't hurt me anymore.
Staff were very receptive of player feedback, helped by the new community manager Kits and Dragon, who bridged the gap between staff and players and made the community feel heard. On June the 26th, a survey was sent out to a number of players asking if they were familiar with the concept of season passes and battle passes.
Those sucked. That's what I'm talking about. They were ass.
Released. The season pass was free to all players and gave them a couple of months to complete challenges to unlock exclusive items, with a premium paid option available to those who wanted to automatically unlock them all. Fer.al moderator Indigo, who wrote an extensive document on the situation, wrote, quote, "This first pass set the bar for passes, and a very low bar at that. Many of the challenges were ridiculously ridiculously hard and near impossible to beat. They required players to spend hours grinding in minigames to get hundreds of thousands of points, which had to be done in one go and weren't cumulative. The difficulty of the pass was eventually lowered, and players who finished the challenges before they were made cumulative were promised compensation, but WildWorks just never followed up on this. The season pass required an estimated 30 hours or more to complete, with most of this being tedious and repetitive grinding, and WildWorks' implementation of features that require inhuman amounts of grinding for very low returns will come up again. To be honest though, none of this was super bad or anything, and players were pretty forgiving. It was Fer.al's first season pass after all, and with the game being in early access, there were bound to be a few balancing issues and
I didn't
bugs.
have a horse. I only had the first two animals, the cat and the
Shortly after the launch of season 2,
thing?
which took one step forward in terms
dog
of
adjacent.
difficulty balancing and 2 steps back in terms of bugginess and quality, the developers dropped a huge update with a highly requested feature, leveling. Fer.al was still pretty bare bones at this point, and players had given a lot of feedback about wanting more fulfilling gameplay and a more structured gameplay loop. All of the collecting and crafting felt a bit hollow when there was no way to mark their progress, so a leveling system was a huge deal and everyone was super excited about it.
I think I left before that it
leveling
existed.
was totally broken on launch. Almost immediately, players found exploits in the system and became mega leveled up gods through dying and unbinding items, leading to the game shutting down temporarily and all players having their levels reset. The leveling was also super unbalanced, like players were spending multiple hours grinding just to get their first few levels, which in a game like Fer.al should be pretty simple. Players calculated that it would take over 130 hours to go from level 1 to level 100, and when it's quicker and easier to reach that level in Elden Ring, you know your game has an issue.
Elden Ring
mainly consisted of grinding until your wrist hurt and you had eye strain, so unfortunately it wasn't really the breath of fresh air that the community had hoped for. Season 3 launched in November of 2020 and immediately began causing severe lag and frame rate issues to an unplayable degree for some, and a later issue prevented players from logging in properly. The WildWorks team had given players extensions on the previous seasons to make up for the glitches, but Season 3, the season that literally locked players out of their accounts, wasn't extended and lots of players missed out on completing challenges. But it was around this time that the first true red flags began to show, and WildWorks' complete communication
I don't know, they kind of lost me already.
Apparent. In the beginning, the community was bustling and supportive, and the staff all seemed very passionate and dedicated and like they actually cared. Players could look past the annoying balancing issues and game-breaking glitches because the staff were receptive to
NPCs will randomly
T-pose about what they'd been working on and what bugs they'd encountered, and heavily encouraged open communication. However, things began to break down in December of 2020 when WildWorks introduced their brand new feedback system. If you're one of those people who watch without the visuals, I'm doing air quotes like crazy right now. Players had to click an off-site link to reach the feedback portal, which was abandoned almost immediately. Updates stopped appearing on the portal a week after its launch, and it stayed that way ever since. The Discord feedback channel was abandoned as well, with its description now reading, quote,
no more feedback.
How to submit
That's
official
good.
feedback. This channel is for player-to-player discussion of game features and a place to poll your fellow players on in-game topics. Any feedback posted there was now considered player-to-player discussion, and with the feedback portal completely abandoned, WildWorks had effectively cut off all player feedback in one fell swoop. They added a bunch of server helpers in March of 2021 to help out with this, but after repeatedly passing feedback up the chain of command and just never hearing back, they sort of had to give up. To be clear, I absolutely don't blame the mods, server helpers, or staff. They were trying their best to make the community feel heard, but with seemingly little support from the WildWorks higher up, there was only so much they could do. By now, I'm sure
characters could fly? Yeah, I left really fast. Because, okay, I played for, like, a couple weeks, maybe, and then I probably had other better things to do, if I'm being realistic. But there was this one aspect of the game that existed when it first came out, where you literally couldn't access entire sections of the game. Okay, let me explain to you how the world, was, set up, right? So, there was, a land, right? But in that land, there were at least 3, portals that you could teleport to get into the world. So instead of, on Animal Jam, you just click on the world and it teleports you to the entrance location. There's 3 different ones in one world, right? Sorry. But unfortunately, there was this thing called a rotation, right? And the rotation, basically, every, 3 days or something like that, it would open and shut certain gates. So you'd only have partial access to entire chunks of the world that you were in. And then on top of that, certain like ingredients were behind those walls. So if you wanted a certain ingredient, it was only in that certain area of that certain land. So you couldn't have access to the things that you wanted if you want. So I was playing and I was like, I need this item for this like shirt that I want. But it wasn't in rotation, so it was closed for like the next 2 days. It was awful. I hated that. It was, I had at least, like, there was like a little, this is why I was reminded of it, because it had a little feedback question mark. It was like, how do you feel about the game? And I was like, that's the dumbest shit I've ever seen. That's like, it's bad. Dear fake old person Animal Jam, I want all the worlds, please. What is wrong? It was bad.
You can tell that bugs were common, and for the most part this was fine since it was an early access game and that's sort of to be expected. But multiple times throughout development, actively harmful bugs occurred, causing rapidly flashing lights. Some of these glitches were fixed and some were not, and despite players asking WildWorks to add a photosensitive epilepsy warning for players who might accidentally stumble across these glitches, it was never added. Season 4 passed largely without issue. Obviously there were debilitating bugs and glitches, but by this point players had come to just accept it as a spicy garnish on their season pass. Season 5 was extended for a whopping 23 days to give staff time to, quote, polish some exciting new content coming in Season Pass 6. Players grew concerned that WildWorks was falling behind on their updates as bugs and glitches piled up, and it turns out those players were right. Season 6 was bad. Like, really bad. Not only was it one of the most notoriously buggy passes ever added to the game, but the new update added some of the worst features yet.
God.
They locked the ability to add custom decals and patterns to your character behind a paywall, adding it as season pass content for all
that was literally the best part!
Customization and creative freedom were always a part of the Fer.al marketing and one of their biggest features, so locking it behind a paywall upset a lot of players. They also introduced a brand new harvestable resource called Sky Jellies to the season pass, but the only avatar that could harvest the airborne items was the new Flying Phoenix avatar. The avatar was, you guessed it, locked behind a premium currency paywall, though they could also unlock it at level 42. It was basically either grind for tens of hours playing the same repetitive minigames over and over, or pay money, and a lot of players felt like this was just a roundabout way of adding another paywall to the season pass. The last big feature was an unexpected and unwelcome surprise, the addition of voice chat. I'm sure many of you out there
I knew that was gonna be a bad idea.
Voice chat before, and if so, you know what a toxic cesspool it can be. There's just something about COD lobbies that brings out the worst in humanity. Anyway, voice chat is all well and good
terrible
in games for
idea.
more mature audiences, but Fer.al was explicitly developed with a tween and teen audience in mind. To be fair, the voice chat was sectioned off into different invite-only rooms, but it was easy for players to invite others into their VC with the intent of trolling, pranking, or even straight up harassing them. It's great that they were implementing safety measures, but in my opinion, voice chat has no place in a game targeted towards a younger demographic because of how toxic and hard to moderate it can be. But don't take my word for it, here's WildWorks CEO Clark Stacy saying it. Despite players and also apparently the CEO voicing safety concerns, the feature remained. Alright, hopefully you guys are bearing with me so far. We're nearly to the NFT stuff. So far the staff had been holding it together despite the bugs and glitches and the server shutdowns and the communication breakdowns and the unkept promises. Somehow they were holding it all together and maintaining that classic WildWorks professionalism. But by July 30th, 2021, things began to very publicly break down. In a long update post, WildWorks announced that they would be stepping back from making new season passes in order to polish and re-release the previous passes, which they admitted had been sidelined in order of pushing out Fer.al's mobile release quicker. It was a sort of hiatus, though they reassured players that Fer.al wasn't shutting down, which didn't age well.
Put that away!
They also revealed that a lot of the Animal Jam team had been pitching in to help speed up Fer.al's development.
I know, literally!
A lot of issues with Fer.al stem from the game not earning
looking
enough money.
good,
All
looking
of the broken challenges and server lag were a symptom of rush season passes, and those rush season passes were a symptom of needing to push out more and more content to earn more revenue. The bugs, glitches, and lack of staff communication were likely because they were busy focusing on the lucrative mobile market in hopes of adding another revenue stream. My theory is that Animal Jam pitching in to help was out of necessity to finish all of the rushed content, but then when they realized that Fer.al was failing commercially, they sobered up and sent them back to Animal Jam. After all, even though the numbers had been declining, Animal Jam is by far their most popular and profitable game, so if they had to salvage one of the two, it would probably be Animal Jam. And I don't mean this in a bad way, like,
Love
oh,
you,
they
Animal
were
Jam.
greedy and money hungry and they let it get to their head, because I don't think that's the case at all. Game development is expensive. A large-scale project like Fer.al is very expensive, and they had to resort to mobile releases and paid content out of necessity. The fact they had basically been treading water and making no profit on the game explains a lot.
I am going to gently disagree. Like, yes, game development expensive, but they probably could have done it differently. Whereas, like, if they had had like premium content in the game, people would have paid for it if it were good enough. But like blocking off the ability for other non-paying players to get entire items. I guess Animal Jam does that, but like, bleh. I don't like that Animal Jam does it.
Of their erratic decisions. Anyway, as with a lot of pre-release games, hiatuses are generally not a good sign, and players were worried. Updates began to slow down after this, and the quality of their releases was abysmal, even though the whole purpose of the re-releases was to polish and fix them. Dangerous bugs were added and challenges were broken, and they accidentally launched the original Season 3 rather than the re-release, which was completely unplayable, and it took them 2 days to take it down. By this point, players had no idea what was going on, and the mask of professionalism had dropped as communication was non-existent, and features that shipped completely broken took days to fix, if they were ever fixed. And this, my friends, is where the trash fire turns into a circus.
Yay! Circus! Yeah.
So now we're getting into NFT territory, oh boy, and I'm gonna assume that by
my
this point
favorite!
most of you know what NFTs and cryptocurrency are. NFT stands for non-fungible token. They're minted on the blockchain and brought with cryptocurrency, and they usually take the form of art, animation, and GIFs, most of which are incredibly ugly. Generally considered terrible for the environment, damaging to artists due to rampant art theft, rife with scams, and basically just a system that targets vulnerable people with the promise that their NFTs will skyrocket in price and make them millionaires.
Not the monkeys!
Obviously this doesn't happen very often, and because so many people gamble away their money in the hopes that their monkey pick will someday put their kids through college, they've been called pyramid schemes and scams. This is literally only scraping the tiniest tip of the iceberg that is
2 hours
NFTs
and 18
myriad
minutes?
problems with them, so I'm gonna recommend a video that I'm sure a lot of you have seen, Dan Olson's Line Goes Up, The Problem with NFTs video. It's brilliant and well researched and explains things a lot better than I ever could. With that out of the way, let's continue.
Looks
On
like I have my
November
going to
27th,
bed
a post
video.
was made on Fer.al's Twitter and Discord announcing the release of their brand new blockchain-based game / crypto metaverse called Cinder. Hey Fer.alians, many of you have been asking us about NFTs, blockchain games, and whether or not these technologies are coming to Fer.al. To put things simply, they are not. However, Wildworks will soon be announcing a new game
I did the
that
same
is
thing,
blockchain-based,
Fer.alians.
so we'd like to take a moment to answer your question. Join our CEO Clark Stacey for an AMA on Fer.al's Discord server tonight at 6 PM. In the rather poorly received AMA, Wildworks CEO Clark Stacey promised players that Cinder would not be replacing Fer.al and was actually just a way to acquire more funding for the game so it could be maintained and updated. Why is Cinder being developed right now when Fer.al is in such an early state? That's a fair question. The short answer is because we want Fer.al to get to the point where ongoing development is self-sustaining. Right now we invest more in it than we make. That doesn't mean we're abandoning it.
Make the game purchasable. Like Animal Jam wasn't, right? But just make it $5. Oop, there's the game. There you go. Oop. The developers get $5 and you get the game. There's your money to develop the game better, and I get the game to develop to watch it develop. That's how most games get their money. Boom, solve the problem. That was easy.
The company needs
I'm sure it's more complicated than that, but still.
Projects like Fer.al that aren't self-sustaining yet. Usually here I'd say, oh, keep that in mind for later, put a pin in that, but there's no point in burying the lead. We all know what happened next. Progress on Fer.al crawled to a standstill over the new year as the game...
This is 4P. Kickstarted, yeah, literally anything. Because there were so many people excited about this game. And if I had money at the time, and I probably did, but I don't think I would have had enough to have put it towards the Kickstarter. But if I had, I probably would have, you know, thrown him $1 or $2 because I thought it was a really cool concept. And there were really good aspects of the game, specifically the character creation. I thought that was fucking awesome. Like, you could make little pictures with, like, the different things. I had a banger-ass character. Don't get it twisted. Because you could put it, like, wherever you wanted. It wasn't like Animal Jam where it was just, boop, it's on the wrist and you don't get a choice. You get to move it, and you get to make it bigger, or smaller, or invert it, or rotate it, and it was cool. That was my favorite part of the game, to be honest.
Quickly devolved into an unkept buggy.
Oh wait, sure. I promise you that your feedback here isn't being read by management, though. That's good.
Virtually no updates. Fer.al was finally put out of its misery around February 16th of 2022, coinciding with the minting of several thousand WildWorks Cinder NFTs, which also went live that day. The community was left confused and in the dark as WildWorks shut off the Fer.al servers and effectively ended the game without so much as a warning, and the Fer.al website was wiped as well. The next day, WildWorks issued an objectively pathetic explanation in their Discord, writing, quote, "WildWorks management has made the decision to bring the Fer.al project to an end. What does this mean? 1. The Fer.al Discord will remain open until this time tomorrow. If you would like to spin up an alt server, please go ahead and share the link here so that you all may continue to congregate there. 2. Fer.al web servers will be shut down effective immediately. There will be no access to the game for a brief period of time. 3. On February 19th, we will open up the servers one more time for a 24-hour period.
Screenshot their items?
Screenshot their items, say their goodbyes, etc. After this time period, the game servers will be shut down and there will be no more access. We appreciate everyone's passion and dedication for Fer.al." Now for reference, a game sunsetting or shutting down is usually a really big deal. A lot of games go out with a bang, throwing big server-wide sunset parties and celebrating the community together, and most importantly they make it known to their community that the game is shutting down. For anyone not in the Fer.al Discord, the game went dark with absolutely no warning or explanation because WildWorks didn't bother to update their social media or website with the fact that their game had literally shut down.
God.
Even today their socials haven't been updated and are just sitting in disuse without so much as a goodbye post or explanation as to what happened.
It's terrible!
I'm editing in post, but I had to add this because it's so unbelievable. The WildWorks admin did an AMA after they decided to shut the game down, and they were basically trying to answer people's questions. When someone asked why they changed their minds from sunsetting to closing, the WildWorks admin replied, quote, "We felt that ultimately the project's utility as a gathering spot for positivity and edification was ceasing to be effective." So it's like, oh, okay, so this decision was based around the fact that the community wasn't positive enough and not the fact that you invested millions of dollars into the game and didn't get any returns.
That's
For some
awful.
Reason, this particular admin just tried to spin it around and make it like a weird gaslighting thing, like you guys caused this. The thing that stung the most
yeah, at
was
least.
it always prided itself on its community, on its big family Discord server and all of the in-jokes and the symbiosis between the players and developers as they worked on the game together. 2 years of financial support, 2 years of emotional investment in the game and the people that made it, 2 years of forming this close community only to be tossed to lukewarm, "Oh, by the way, we shut down the entire game last night, K thanks bye," in the Discord server. The worst part was that Fer.al wasn't even shutting down, it was simply rebranding into a slimy NFT crypto metaverse project that players would have to pay hundreds to even play. Obviously, after this bombshell dropped, the Discord server devolved into complete and utter chaos. Petitions were started, the hashtag StompOutCinder was started, anti-NFT Discords and Twitter accounts began popping up, and the servers were going absolutely feral,
Fight the power!
Unintended. Most of the mods quit and made their stance against NFTs clear, and shortly before the Discord closed, WildWorks mentioned parting ways with a number of employees. Many have attributed this to walkouts because of the
That's
NFTs,
awful.
but I think that it's more than likely that they were simply laid off. It's clear that WildWorks was paying out of pocket to keep Fer.al open, and when you don't even have enough money to keep your game up and running, you probably don't have enough money to maintain a large team of artists, developers, coders, designers, and writers. One employee review on the website Glassdoor reads,
I unplugged my headphones. Please hold. Username, just here to watch it burn. LMAO. Okay. We're back.
Quote, not very transparent. Multiple unexpected layoffs throughout the years, which doesn't make it reliable. A fair amount of crunching or cutting
place to work at.
production/management. After leaving the company, I realized my salary wasn't even close to a fair salary, so be smart when you're giving your numbers.
Thank you for holding.
Not very clear how to grow in the company. Alongside reinforcing the idea that players had to crunch to put season passes out and likely cut planned features, it confirms that layoffs did in fact occur. There are actually quite a number of negative employee reviews on Glassdoor which give insight into how the company treated their employees, and it doesn't reflect great. However, I would take these with a grain of salt.
Rampant nepotism. That's good.
Posts. Anyway, let's talk about Clark Stacy. Stacy is the co-founder and CEO of WildWorks, and taking a look at the amount of Fer.al discussion online.
Kitty picture. I love you, kitty. Okay, I actually really like the chickens. Kitty picture.
Usually not in a good context. Before he became public enemy #1, he was actually seen within the fandom as a sort of lovable dad meme figure. He was very active in the community, interacted with players, and even had one player's meme art as his Instagram profile picture. However, the attitude towards him soured very quickly when he began getting into and publicly supporting NFTs in 2021. He stated multiple times that he wasn't trying to promote NFTs to Fer.al's player base, but he also spent hours in the Discord discussing it and singing its praises. So, I don't know, take from that what you will. Amongst the chaos of the final day, the WildWorks admin account emerged to do another AMA, and it wasn't received very well. They kept getting distracted by reactions, and at one point asked if people wanted free stuff, and it's like, the game's gone, my guy. There's no stuff left. This AMA really didn't go well. The admin was very standoffish and curt with their responses, and it was also pretty infamous for spawning a lot of very widely screenshotted posts.
Terrible.
There's a weird part where someone asks him if they'll be using the user-made content in Cinder, to which he replies no, but I mean technically you consented to it when you joined Fer.al, so we could totally take your stuff, but we won't. An absolutely unbelievable quote from the AMA reads,
That's
if I knew
terrible.
about NFTs back in 2016, I would probably be doing something else by now and using a bored ape as my avatar. I don't own an ape, and I work here. Brilliant. One comment by the WildWorks admin account reads, but you support using Discord, wiping your credit and debit card, driving a car, having lights on in your house. Nearly everything we do as humans hurts the environment. We each have to do our part to limit the impact. To say, I'm never going to support NFTs crypto until they don't harm the environment means you also can't support anything that uses electricity. The Discord was eventually
the goofiest shit I've ever heard.
All contact between WildWorks and the Fer.al community, and several fan-made servers popped up. So let's actually take a look at Cinder as a game. One particularly interesting passage of note from one of the Discord AMAs reads, quote, is Cinder using existing Fer.al assets, or is this from the ground up a new game set in the same universe? It is using the technology platform we built for Fer.al and initially many of the Fer.al assets. It has already diverged considerably, and the heritage won't be obvious soon after launch. The heritage won't be obvious soon after launch is an interesting way of saying we're ripping the map, locations, character models, and GUI directly from Fer.al. The character models in the game, known as the Cinder Fae, are just the Fae avatars from the Season 6 Fer.al Pass, and so far all of the locations shown off in the trailers and on the website are just map locations from Fer.al. It's basically just Fer.al, but
look
as far
so
as I can tell,
bad.
it doesn't have crafting, quests, or customization, since you have to stick with your pre-existing Cinder Fae. And speaking of, the mint has gone live, and we can see WildWorks' lovely selection of NFTs here. I love clashing colors and tacky accessories on a design that has absolutely no aesthetic appeal whatsoever. If you don't know much about NFTs, you might be wondering why these things are so gross, and that's because they're all randomly generated. There's actually only 4,444 of them so far, and each of them cost between 0.85 Sol, or about $75 US, all the way to 1,000 Sol, aka $85,000 US. The most expensive Cinder Fae currently is 293, which cost nearly $1 million.
But why?
Actually a fucking joke, but before I go off on a tangent, let me digress. The point is, these things are expensive, and you have to buy in if you want to play, which means spending a decent chunk of money even for the cheapest Cinder Fae.
No, just get rid of them!
Over 18 to even own a crypto wallet, and most Fer.al players wouldn't be able to participate, but Stacy made it very clear that he knew Fer.al players would hate NFTs and that they weren't the target audience. WildWorks plan on opening the Fer.al servers for one more time for a 24-hour period on the 19th of February to give players one last send-off, but but this was met with criticism since it technically broke Fer.al's terms of service. According to their TOS, they had to give 30 days notice before shutting the game down. In response to the backlash, WildWorks moved the date back to the 26th of March and for some unknown reason shortened the open period from 24 hours to just 3 hours from 9 AM to 12 PM. I have no idea if this is because the server cost would be too high or if they were genuinely just pissed off with the community, but this new 3-hour time period means that only a select few time zones will actually get to access the game at a reasonable hour. The website was updated from a blank page to a statement notifying players about the change, and bizarrely over the last few days several admins from the original Fer.al server have attempted to join fan-made discords. Now personally I think the drama around this is a little bit overblown, like mods were talking about locking down the servers and players were accusing WildWorks of infiltrating their servers to spy on them for nefarious purposes. It is pretty weird and unprofessional, but I think if anything they were probably joining to see the community's reaction. Like if my company dropped a bombshell like that and then immediately cut off all contact, I'd probably want to see what the players were saying too. Although maybe I'm wrong, maybe it was a secret ops mission to obtain intelligence on Fer.al players, who knows. And that's where our tumultuous story ends. As of today, Fer.al is scheduled to open for 3 hours on the 26th of March, the Discord is gone, and 5 months after the announcement they still haven't posted about Fer.al's closure on any of their social media accounts. It's almost like they're embarrassed or something. Fer.al is effectively gone for good, and while Clark Stacy did mention wanting to potentially reboot the game in the future, he made no promises and made it clear that their attention was solely focused on Cinder at this time. So that was a lot, and we still have a ton to discuss. Why did this all happen? What went wrong with Fer.al, and why does Cinder exist? Well, let's try to unpack this whole mess.
Yeah, and you'd get really good art for $100.
I know everyone always says, oh, this thing was such a garbage fire, what a disaster, but no, the implosion of Fer.al was an actual train wreck, and if information has been a little bit all over the place, it's just because there's so much to cover. So let's try to make sense of all of this. In my opinion, there were 3 big contributing factors to the downfall of Fer.al. The first factor was the commercial failure of Fer.al. Having played the game a bit myself, I can safely say that Fer.al was a really nice game. It had beautiful graphics, it had cool design and art direction, and really innovative customization tools that were super well received. But that's just it. The graphics were beautiful and nice, but the game lacked substance. A lot of quests and challenges were just fetch quests and playing tedious minigames, and the leveling mechanic only added more grinding to the game. Players have long been asking for a more structured gameplay loop with classes, parties, and more in-depth quests, but these features were shelved in favor of bugged season passes, which just reinforced this competitive, grinding, collectathon gameplay. MMOs like Fer.al need strong
animals were really
loops to
cool,
hook the player in and keep them coming back.
and designing
daily,
them was
Fer.al
also really
didn't
cool.
Have any sense of progression and didn't.
One of the things I didn't like though was that you couldn't name the individual animal. It would just default name it the species that it was, and I didn't like that because I wanted to name the animal. I think you could name like the outfit, but you couldn't name the animal, you know what I mean? And I wanted people to see my animal's name, not my username, because I was running on Animal Jam brain, where I like to use the animal names. Yeah, I want to name animal. Give me animal name. I don't care about any of this other crap.
Players much reasons to keep logging in other than to grind the season pass for cosmetic items. Like I said, the game needed substance, but that was okay because it was in early access and it takes time to make a great game. It's not fair to expect a brand new developing game to be this amazing experience right out of the gate. But the issue was that WildWorks didn't really seem to be working on any core gameplay mechanics or features because they were so focused on pushing out season passes and paid content every few months. We touched on the issue of Fer.al's paid content in the earlier section, but it's worth bringing up here because I think that adding paid content this early on in the game was one of the worst things WildWorks could have done. Obviously games need to get funded, WildWorks needed money to develop and keep this thing running, and there's nothing wrong with that. But the gameplay just wasn't there yet. You can't take a bare bones beta test and start pushing out paid content and locking features behind paywalls the moment you launch. You have to get players invested. Fer.al's focus on pushing out buggy season passes rather than improving the foundations and core mechanics of the game led to
a lot of it was ugly too,
and start re-releasing seasons, and by then it was sort of already the beginning of the end. They had hoped to create another profitable and self-sustaining game like Animal Jam that would increase their revenue, but instead it became a money sink that they struggled at every turn to make profitable. The second and potentially the biggest contributing factor was the poor communication and unprofessionalism. As we discussed earlier, communication became less and less frequent as time went on, and after the tragic passing of Fer.al's beloved community manager Kitson Dragon, who had essentially been the backbone of the community and the only thing holding the
Goodbye, Mobile Lag. Welcome home as well.
To the moderators and unpaid server volunteers, many of whom were only teenagers. As we can see from the moderator sign-up form, the minimum age for moderators and volunteers was 16, which seems pretty irresponsible of WildWorks.
That's terrible.
When they explicitly state that mods will be regularly exposed to controversial, toxic, and triggering content. Even if their intentions were good, it seems strange that a professional games company would be
not again. WildWorks loves exploiting children, huh?
After the loss of Kits and Dragon, which heavily affected the entire community, the mods were left to quell the insanity of the Fer.al Discord server with absolutely no help from WildWorks. The way that WildWorks handled those last few months, just refusing to give any updates and leaving the unpaid moderators to deal with the mess that they made, is just... it's such poor form. Communication issues had plagued Fer.al since day one, and we've already covered a lot of it, but one thing that I don't see people mention very often is that the main form of communication
impossible difficulty, apparently.
Plans, updates, and game discussion all happened on Discord, and while I see what they were going for with the whole cozy community vibe, it could also be a bit chaotic and disorganized. Information got lost, unruly behavior got out of control fast, and I think that the more casual tone of the server sort of lent itself to unprofessionalism. With an official website and curated social media platforms, everything is professional and thought out, but with Discord it's easy for admins to make an angry comment or a silly statement in the heat of the moment that ends up being screenshotted like a billion times. Communication is vital on any project, and while it seems like they really did try in the beginning, they fell back into a pattern of ignoring the players and sweeping feedback under the rug. The third contributing factor was WildWorks itself and its relationship to the crypto space. Many have pointed out that Animal Jam has taken an openly anti-crypto stance in the past, literally putting information about why it's harmful in their game, but the hypocrisy doesn't stop there. Believe it or not, and despite his comments about yearning for a Bored Ape, CEO Clark Stacey wasn't always an avid crypto supporter, in fact quite the opposite. Tweets from as early as September of 2021, mere months before the announcement of Cinder, read, quote, "Totally this, and crap art is just that. When the veil of buzzy gimcrackery fades away, you aren't going to be left holding a piece of history, you're going to be holding a piece of crap." This is a good place to quickly debunk a common rumor. See, because of how Cinder worded it on their website, they made it sound like they'd been developing the game for 2 years alongside Fer.al. They phrased it like this because they wanted to make NFT buyers think the project is a labor of love and years of hard work rather than a quick reskin of a failed game they shut down. But the wording led players to believe that WildWorks had created Fer.al as a way to trick people into better testing their NFT game, and that Cinder had always been secretly developing alongside Fer.al.
I mean, they have to be the same.
However, this isn't true, as we can see that the CEO only became interested in crypto in 2021, and he even said as much himself. WildWorks wasn't like playing the long game and scheming in the shadows to trick their players, it was just a rash decision that they made once the money began to run out. Ex-moderator
you know,
quote, "In my opinion, Cinder
that's where it all leads, doesn't it? It's all the money. That's all NFTs are, it's people being money hungry.
Likely a spur-of-the-moment decision to get their money's worth out of the assets that they already had. It's hard to pinpoint when development got started, but at the earliest it was January of last year, which is when they said it started. Though Clark was against NFTs up until October, and Cinder is very bare. It doesn't look like something that's been worked on for a year, and I wouldn't be surprised if it started much later than January. So what made WildWorks go from this to, and I quote the actual website here, "It turns out a group of crypto enthusiasts and NFT collectors have been lurking in the shadows of our company for years." The physical location of WildWorks HQ might have actually played a role in this decision. WildWorks is located in Salt Lake City, Utah, which has become an extremely popular location for tech companies and startups over the last decade, to the point where it's known as Silicon Slopes. On the Silicon Slopes website, we can see tons of Garbo articles about crypto and NFTs, and a lot of big companies that fall under the Silicon Slopes umbrella have also been getting into them as of late. It's possible that WildWorks, already backed into a corner with their failing game, got the idea from the Silicon Slopes community and decided to get into NFTs. The online crypto community likely played a part as well, and Stacey openly claimed that Cinder was inspired by other crypto games like the loathsome Axie Infinity. When players repeatedly pointed out that Stacey had to have known that the backlash to their decision would be bad, he admitted that he and the staff were well aware of the negative reception.
Oh yeah, you should do your yard too. I never did my yard.
Fer.al had two very different demographics, and Cinder wasn't meant to appeal to Fer.al players, but rather NFT buyers and crypto enthusiasts. This is backed up by a series of DMs between Twitter user @Marina and Clark Stacy. After expressing anti-NFT views, Clark Stacy got in touch with the user to discuss crypto and NFTs and ask why they were opposed to them. Weirdly, this isn't the only instance of the CEO reaching out to Twitter users to discuss crypto.
It wasn't easy.
These discussions
it was all craftable. It was ass.
It's a shame that they never amounted to anything more than an okay, let's agree to disagree conclusion, because players were providing a lot of valid points about the damaging effects of crypto and how the decision would affect the Fer.al community. And reminder, these conversations took place months before the closure of Fer.al and even before the announcement of Cinder, so they were fully aware of how players felt and how they would react. Despite the fact that WildWorks very clearly knew that the backlash would be bad and said as much themselves, they seemed to show a very strong disdain and annoyance for the community as soon as the backlash started. From former moderator Ishmael, quote, "After Cinder was announced, the Fer.al community was considered
it was bad.
hostile
Like,
by WildWorks.
If it had, if it weren't all in stores and didn't cost money as well, if it was like just crafting and you ran around and then maybe there was a store that was separate so you could buy things from the store and then you could craft things also, that would have been fine. But like, it was weirdly hard to get the the currency, which were called likes. It was hard to get likes because the games would not only give you the likes, very rarely in comparison, but they'd also give you crafting materials because everything was craftable. And you didn't even go there wasn't like a little table that you crafted at. It was like the store. So you needed to have money and the items. It was really bad. It was weirdly, it tried to be like a social media thing. It was bizarre.
This up is yet another screenshot
really
of the
weird
conversation between Marina and Clark Stacy, as he wrote in response to their question about whether Fer.al would ever be sold, quote, "We have conversations with publishers interested in acquiring existing titles all the time. Among those that could actually assume the cost of running Fer.al, few are interested in inheriting a community that will send them death threats, threaten to blow up their offices, and attack their other games in response to unpopular business decisions. But hey, you never know." I want to make it very clear that this behavior isn't okay. Death threats and harassment are never okay under any circumstances, and the WildWorks team were absolutely right to speak up about this, and they were right to feel upset. But by tarring the entire community with the same brush because of a few bad apples, they completely ignore all of the passionate, civil, and well-spoken players who took time out of their lives to engage in thoughtful dialogue with WildWorks. I have no doubt that there were some extremely disturbed individuals who sent threats and harassed the staff, and it's okay to call those people out, but it's unfair to label the entire community that supported you for 2 years as toxic and just kick them to the curb. A lot of players paint the staff as these evil, cold-hearted, money-hungry people, and while I understand the urge to jump to this conclusion, I really don't think it's the case. I don't think that any of the artists, writers, coders, or developers wanted to see 2 years of work go down the drain for a cheap money grab, but they were at the mercy of the WildWorks higher-ups. After 2 years
But that's all anybody's really talking about is the higher-ups anyway. I don't know why anybody would assume that the artists involved in the game would have been the money-hungry ones. That's fucking ridiculous, but anyway.
Gameplay meant that it never got off the ground enough to become profitable, as the company worked harder and crunched to generate revenue and push out
lockpicking
minigame. That tight-knit, transparent, and open community spirit slowly faded.
I never had any fucking lockpicks though.
And the players were left in the dark, with no other option than to close down or sell, which, as Stacy wrote, would be a hard sell considering the low profitability of the game and the costs of running the servers. WildWorks hopped on the crypto bandwagon, likely inspired by other tech companies and online businesses. This very much seemed like a last-ditch attempt to salvage anything from the project and not let 2 years and probably millions of dollars go down the drain with absolutely nothing to show. Does that make their decisions and behavior okay? No, not at all, but it gives us an insight as to why those decisions were made. From there though, I have no idea what the thought process is. Are they planning on using Cinder as a way to stockpile money to reboot Fer.al? While Stacy did mention a potential reboot, he said it wasn't currently on the cards and the Cinder roadmap looks pretty long term. Did they originally plan on running the two games alongside each other father before realizing server costs would be too much and opting for the more cheap and profitable option? Maybe. It's even possible that they started out with good intentions and just decided to hurriedly throw Fer.al in the bin as soon as they saw those sweet crypto dollar signs. It's really impossible to know. Ex-moderator Ishmael wrote on the topic of the WildWorks staff, quote, "I don't agree with how this was managed with my community and how we were obviously viewed as a mob of unruly children rather than people who were essentially raised by this company and are upset that the company that raised them unceremoniously kicked them to the curb. But I genuinely believe that Fer.al's closure wasn't some malicious ploy that a few people think that it is. I've met too many people within the company that had so much love and passion for the game and its community to believe that they didn't exhaust every possible avenue before making the decision to close the game."
Yeah, but they didn't close the game right or well. So people still have the right to be angry. I don't know, she's taking a bit of a middle of the road stance here.
Honestly, researching and writing about the downfall of Fer.al is really sad because you can tell that the players and staff alike really cared about the project and were passionate about it and were just screwed over by a rash decision made up by the higher-ups. Though this decision has almost definitely been a profitable one, I mean look how expensive these NFTs are, it's come at the cost of their reputation and the community that they've fostered. The WildWorks name, once well respected and beloved, will always be tarnished with this one decision and the way that they treated their community in the following months. Fer.al's community was so bustling and creative and supportive of each other in the game that it really sucked to see how messy and dramatic things got. The community didn't deserve to be booted from the game and disregarded by the staff in such an unceremonious
Oh my god, one of my favorite items of the game.
To be shut down and replaced with a cheap and gross NFT clone is such a disappointing way for it to go out. That leaves us with the question of what will happen to Cinder. According to their sales record on Fractal, they've already sold 3,444 Cinder Fate NFTs out of 4,444 total, so they've been selling very successfully and rough estimates put their profits in the hundreds of thousands at this point. So far more lucrative and profitable than Fer.al, but in terms of the longevity of the project, I'm not so sure. NFT buyers,
she should be dying by now.
Enthusiasts don't exactly strike me as the kind of people who would get super invested in this aesthetic furry Animal Jam MMO, and I can't imagine player numbers would be super high after the initial excitement had worn off. Most of these people are just in it to add NFTs to their collection, not because they want to play an RPG and roleplay with friends. According to the roadmap, they're planning on adding pay-to-earn features in the future, which will likely draw in more of an active audience since they'd be able to earn crypto in Cinder. Unfortunately, a lot of pay-to-earn crypto games seem to result in impoverished people from third world countries being employed by rich crypto bros who take a huge cut of their below minimum wage earnings, so we'll see how Cinder plans to tackle that. Whether Cinder is successful and makes WildWorks into a billion-trillion-dollar company, or whether it flops like so many NFT games before it, remains to be seen. What is clear though is that this money
Queen, it's over.
Losing the community that once trusted and supported them. At the end of the day, the downfall of Fer.al affected many people, from the players who supported it financially to the moderators who were left to manage the entire community by themselves, to the many non-crypto loving employees who I'm sure exist at WildWorks and now have to work on a slimy NFT game which is a shell of the passion project they spent 2 years handcrafting. The whole situation really sucks, and I don't see Fer.al making a return anytime soon, especially with how broken the community's trust is. Hopefully those who played, worked on and developed the game can move on and find better communities that will treat them right. While I empathize with WildWorks in the tough position they were put in when funds were low, the decision to branch into NFTs is a cheap and disingenuous one that will leave a permanent mark on the brand. To see WildWorks go from condemning crypto to openly supporting and profiting off it is really disappointing and a sad way for a company and the games that they made to fall from grace. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Queen, for your Fer.al video. It was weird how she kept mentioning the how it wasn't like the people who worked on its faults, and like literally nobody thought that. Maybe she saw people who were saying that, but I can't think of anybody who would. It's the only people who would ever make those decisions were the higher ups, and that's the people that everybody was upset with. It was weird how she framed that, but no matter. Fer.al can no longer hurt us because she has died. Fer.al was a really weird game, though. I wanted it to be good, but here we are. Goodbye, Fer.al. Goodbye. Treated us like ass. Because there was she really had it when she was calling it like a shell of a game. Because it did feel particularly hollow in comparison to Animal Jam. Because Animal Jam had lots of games, and like different den shapes, so you could decorate different dens. And in Feral you only have one. Animal ham. And then the currency system was really bad and very difficult to earn as well. Like it wasn't it wasn't easy to get the currency. And then of course the closing off different sections of the game. I really just really grand grand stuff. Okay. I need to get rid of this. Okay. I have to piss. I will be back shortly, and then we'll see about some more Animal Jam. Yeah, definitely not grand. I didn't even know that they had started doing that stuff during the beta test, because I wasn't there during the beta test, but I remember when they added season passes, I was not fucking happy about season passes. Because, like, what? I didn't understand how you did season passes, because I didn't even know what leveling up even meant at the time. It doesn't sound like it did. I think I missed the closed beta. So this, yeah, the season pass shit was nasty, because I didn't even understand how it worked. But anyway, I'm going to pee. I will be right back. Happy 9:05, everybody. I missed it while I was gone. Sorry, my fan on, LMAO. I don't think you can hear it. I haven't checked any of the VODs, but I don't care enough to check the VODs, to be honest. So if there's a fan noise in the background, simply gonna have to deal. Thank you for Happy 9:05. I love you very much. Sick. My noise gate should stop it, which is really fucking fresh. I love that. Oh. Thank you for Bob Ross stream contribution. Okay. I'm hacking in to the game. Thank you for your Happy 9:05 as well. Okay, I think No. I'm gonna make a completely new... Oh, my condolences. Thank you for your happy 9 to 5 as well. Okay. Actually, no, this is a bad time to be doing this. Can I copy one? Oh, I can copy one. Rename game alt. So we're gonna get rid of this. Remove. Oh. Pardon me, Chatterino. You're actively causing problems. Oh! Chatterino times 2! You're gonna have to deal with that for a second. Yes. House roof. Wish roof. This one. Yes. Display capture. Oh wait, no, I hate display capture. I lied. Window capture. Add new game alt. It's literally not. Perfect, okay. Sorry, I'm messing with everything. Because some games don't show up in my, full screen thing. Cloud party? Oh my god. I want a cloud party. Okay. I think we're good. Okay. Okay. The flying animal party? Oh. Maybe I have been there. I don't remember. I was listening to a sign video the other day while playing this. Art FNAF RP, my den. Okay, let's see, what do we have here? Okay. I've been working on my, what is it? Oh. Oh, good. The dinner party! I need like 6 more of these. I have like 6 of those. Okay, that feels like enough. I think I'm good on those. They do look like slide doors. This is the 16th dinner party in a row? Yeah. I've seen nothing but beta parties as of late. It's a real shame. Okay. We'll mess with people in a minute. I'm working on my, my medieval den, if you will. Oh, well, that went well. The beta party? Or the dinner party? Or both? Who knows? Beta, okay. That would make a lot more sense than having them be around literally all the time. You can tell that Mount Shiver is my favorite one? Oops! Okay. Well, first of all, this is my time traveler character, Daredevil Speedy Stone. Because he was my original little boy. Oh, that's kind of cute. I love your Christmas party. He is a time traveler because he used to be my original accounts character. And I think that's fun and cute. Medieval den. So, okay. My plan, right? So down here is the kitchen, right? So you got the bread table, we got apples, got stone oven that you can get in. Kinda, a little bit. And then, of course, the candles upstairs. Obviously, I don't know why I fucking did that, doesn't matter. The stone pillars I grinded like you would not believe. The coat of arms, like I also grinded for, like you would not believe. My statues of armor, they are the bisexual flag, if you did not notice. No! Burning! And then I have this fireplace here. I don't know why. And then this was supposed to be a bedroom, and then I realized that they didn't have beds in the game. So now it's like a little writing area, I guess. We've got a little campground. And then of course, our turquoise. And then my plan was to make this like a walled off section or whatever, like with traps. So these are the traps. And then walls, and it was gonna be like a sacred ground area or whatever. But I don't have enough trees, and I don't have enough like magical-esque items. I could probably move the orb into the other room, or over there maybe. Thank you. It's really my thank you. I could probably use your method. But I'm trying to keep it so it's like medieval versus magic or whatever, just like Merlin 2012. My favorite, my beloved. So I'm gonna add like a little campsite, so they're like preparing to get past the traps or whatever. I just don't have any like tool-esque items, or if I do, they are super deep and I can't get to them before the game logs me out. I mean, I have this, but that's like gardening stuff. And not really what I meant. I wanna find some place to put like a table or whatever, but I really can't think of any place. Oh wait. Go back. These are perfect. There. Okay. I have to exit really quick. Fog machine could be cool. Put that away. I could cover it by other things. We'll see. I could make that a foggy, mysterious area. Not the by night. Oh no! You're right! He's gone! Armor. Thank you. I didn't even notice that he died. Put him back! Okay, he's back. He's back. I need more fog machines in that case. So we're gonna have to keep an eye out for the dance party or whatever it is. I want to find a place to put the table or whatever. I think I mentioned that, but I just don't know where. I need a nature archway. I've decided just now. But like a not winter one. Ooh, creature tracks. They could be tracking a dragon. This is perfect. Let me put the rose bush down. Oh. The fog machine. Put it back. Ooh, ancient troves, or what the fuck, scrolls. I'll put those in the research area. I could add mushroom stuff as well. More mushroom stuff, that is. Grass? Grass, my beloved? It's so ugly. A pond? Maybe I don't need as many trees as I thought. Oh, I can add this to the... Anyway, before the entire ground. Look, okay, I'm sorry. Oh my god, nature archway. I have this one. But thank you, I love you. Okay, how much was lost? No, it's not a snow one? Wait. Oh, okay, never mind. It just glitched. It's okay. It's okay. Shh, shh, shh. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Oh no. Okay. So much was lost. But this is okay. This is salvageable. I forgot what all I put down. The koi pond. Or this is a duck pond. It's fine. Doesn't matter. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. It's okay. Well, I am considering. For nature king or whatever. Okay, now I'm curious about Epic Wonders Pond. Hold on. Is this den items? Yes, it is. Ooh. Big pond. Let's watch me waste away all of my money. I did it. I wasted away all of my money. Okay. Let's go back home. And cry over our loss. Okay. I'm gonna get rid of the duck pond. Oh, Jesus! I guess when you said massive, you meant massive. I understand now. I don't even know where to put it now. Here, we'll put it... right there. Right there. Oh no. I would love if at least one item would face completely fucking forward. Thanks. Please and thank you. I mean, with how big they're making some of this stuff now, they kind of have to, make it like that. Okay. This is being hidden. I don't want it to be. Bring it forward. Not forward, but like out more. Maybe the orb will go on top of it. Okay, I lied. I have lied. It's a little too close. Maybe the orb is the forest god. Okay, I'm getting rid of the giant pond. I can't do it. I did my best. Okay. What did I just kill? I don't think there's anything in there. Where are you going? Stop it. Me and my orb. Okay. So we will... Not the clear den button. Okay. Then the brambles. And I want a wall somewhere. So maybe it's sort of like a secret passage, kinda. No. Pink one, go back. That's fine. It's the magical area. I don't know, it's like something's missing in this area. Crocuses, my beloved. The fact that I only have one is more upsetting than you could ever know. Scrap his sword already? Yeah. It's too magical. Gotta exit out really quick just in case. Aw, lion! That's so, you know. Oh, yeah. They don't have any good fucking chairs. No! The lion plushies are so cute. Alright, how much did we lose? Probably not too much. Okay, it's just the scrolls. Thank God. I wonder where I got this from. I guess it doesn't really matter. Where the fuck? Oh, okay, they're there. Okay, and then... I had a mat, I swear to God. Here. Indoor koi pond. Maybe I'll do the duck pond, actually. Actually, no. That's a dumb idea. I just wanted to fill space. Rug. I don't have any good rugs. This is very medieval. But it'll have to do. Okay. What? Oh yeah, I was gonna put the... He's been captured. Okay, I could put this couch. That's not a fucking couch. Here it is. That's that's probably why I don't have it. If we're being realistic. I have a medieval chair. Oop. I spent a lot of money on those, so they are legally going in the den. Holy shit. Ooh, I have another briar. Oops. I could literally put it over here. Anyway. I had another idea, but I forgot what it was. But yeah, I was up here. Nobody gets to sit down. It's just the table. What a stupid place for it. I could probably add chairs at the ends. Hold on. Oh. I forgot. They only face. Oh! Oh my god. God is real. Oh, and it's tucked in. Okay, I have to add a king and a queen. Actually, no. Fuck the orb. The orb is the royal advisor. He's so silly. Okay. I have this penguin. He can be king. I don't have any other big ones. Well, except for this bunny, but I don't like them. But she will have to do for now. And the queen. They're fighting. They're fighting kingdoms, but in the end they come to a peace. Okay, there's literally area. There's literally room down here. Tiger? Oh, that's so medieval. Hold on, I'll get rid of my stone pillars. Tentatively. Realistically. They wouldn't even go there anyway. Because they're not medieval enough. They've got too much plants. And that's a wizard thing, actually. Okay. Okay, I am Googling my chairs, please. Thank you. I get so scared. Oops. Okay. I'm running out of stuff I'm able to put in here. I think it looks good. Hold on, let me see. I was just curious. No floor, no walls, fine. Ugh, medieval den! With some liberties taken, of course. Maybe I'll line up plushies as their subjects or something. Thank you! I also love Medieval Den. It is so medieval. Okay, this is their royal advisor. So he gets to stand next to them. Oop, well, that's about as good as we're gonna get from that. From him, huh? There. They're lining up to talk to the king and the queen. There's chairs that you can kind of sit on. And I have, of course, have a medieval character. Let me go get him. This is his house. He is a knight. House for each character. I don't know who should I do next then? Cause I don't. This is the only one that has a house so far. Hold on, I'll go. Chef? You're right. You could have a bakery. Oh my god. Okay, we gotta change. Okay. He is about to fuck it up. Okay. Switch my den. What do you think? Spring small house or spring cottage? Those feel chef-like to me. I'll have to move around while... Oh, wait! There is a restaurant den, isn't there? Hold on. That's literally perfect. Not available. What? I can't believe you'd say that. Okay, cottage it is. Oh, what the fuck? I've never been in here. Okay, why is this huge? Okay, this was a bigger commitment than I wanted. I think I'm gonna default back to the other one. Oops. But not before testing out the walls. I love testing out the walls. It's literally my favorite fucking thing to do. Oh, spider floor. Okay, green slime wall. These huge tents would have been great in the warrior cat era, you're right. It is a shame. Okay, I'm doing this one. Oh, it's so cute in here. Okay. I have so much restaurant stuff, so thank God you said chef. Actually, we're gonna make it an outdoor seating area. I don't think I have any more of these tables. I do not. Okay. Wait, hold on. Is it still the- No, it's not. Okay, it's fine. Ew. Don't go upside down. Do I have enough screens for this? Oh, I might only have 3. Oh, just kidding. I have 6. Okay, thank you. Stop doing that. Okay, we're gonna use this tree. Hide that heinous mistake. Apples, of course. Okay. Fridge. Some shelves. No more bread, I guess. Okay. That's perfect. That's perfect. I need my bread table back, though. Oh, well, that's the bread. Here's the bread table. Apple outside, I guess. Oh, I didn't know they had little guys in the trees. No. Little guy. Mushrooms are customary. Maybe this can be a little patio area. Okay. And then this area out here is going to be a little display area. Oh wait, I no longer need this tree to cover it up. I can cover it up with cupcakes instead. I want a table though. And then we can put the bread on the table. Okay, beautiful. Cupcake sign. No! What is happening? Here, I'll put it right here. Okay. I need another table. Like a not fucking ugly one, please. It's fine. We found a place for it, so it's okay. It's gonna have stuff on top of it, so it won't matter too terribly. Let me exit it really quick, just in case. Oh yeah, this is gonna have donuts and I think cake. Aha! Oh my god, it's fucking huge. Go away. Whoops. I was about to go insane. Okay, at least I want one cake. So maybe he's a baker. I need more restaurant tables. Fuck. Why do I have 3 sets of donuts? Okay. Okay, restaurant table. Let's fucking relax. Okay. I like these fucking things. Oops. You know how it is. Aww. Mat. Pillow? Got it. Maybe, hold on. They got donuts. I've decided just now. I bought that table for fucking nothing. Don't worry about it. It's none of your business. Okay. Are you sure? Are you sure you weren't worried? Maybe a rug couldn't hurt. Rug? A rug? Rug. I know I have fucking rugs. Oh, I'm in the wrong place. Rug. Ruggy rug. Oh my god, it's so cute in here. No, that doesn't match. So cozy. Thank you. I think I'm done. It's his chef den. He baked. Oh my god. Look at him go. No, not that one. Beta party needs to end. Okay. Should I decorate another den or should we do something else? What do we want to see? I could go on an adventure. I could play games. I could go to the pillow room and we read what happens. The infamous pillow room. I could go in circles. I don't know. Who knows? So much could happen. I love this den. What the fuck? I guess it is 10. We've been going for 3 hours. Yeah. I feel like I don't have enough items to keep everything cohesive in bigger ones. I think it'd be cool to have a bigger den or whatever. But it would just take me a while, because the medieval one I was having trouble with. Because I was just overcomplicating it. I was like, there has to be a story here. There literally fucking doesn't. You're den building an Animal Jam. Shut the fuck up. Gotta be my animal when I'm in, yes? For me, at least. I feel like these should be over here. My crocuses! No! Striped couch? Strip couch? What the fuck is this? This was a circle on it. What the fuck? No. Wagon wheel? The bike thing was so fucking funny. I know you probably didn't see it because it's like double clicking for some reason. Okay, a little bit like Mossy Stone Bench. Why is the Magnolia stuff so fucking expensive? Someone do something. I've officially spent all my money, so that's good. Okay, anyway. Now feels like a halfway decent time to get off. That isn't like 6 hours where everybody's sleeping. Or asleep. Falling asleep. You get it. So I'm gonna let everybody go. I have work tomorrow anyway, and I've been sleeping like ass, so probably for the best, that I bid you adieu. You're very welcome for Animal Jam stream. I hope everybody had a nice time. I certainly did. We learned so many new Animal Jam things, and we made Animal Jam stuff together. And it was very fun, cool, and nice. You are very welcome as well. So I am going to drop us in, Just a Queen, my beloved. You are also very welcome for stream. Have officially been debriefed. Oh, I have been logged out. I'd expect nothing fucking less. Just a Queen. So, okay, I'm gonna drop everybody there. I will see everybody tomorrow. We are going to be drawing something new, which is really exciting. If you haven't seen the finished image, it is on Twitter if you're interested. Don't we all? Ugh, okay, anyway. We'll start something new art-wise tomorrow, and then after that, new game. I will probably discuss and decide with you all tomorrow what game we will end up playing now that we're officially saying fuck you, New Vegas. But for now, I will leave you alone. Goodbye, I love you.
Harry Potter series. Okay. Okay. I didn't know. Thank you, Dex Floor, for that raid. How's it going, man? Dex, how was your stream? What did you stream? Shout out, Dex. How's it going, Dex? Yeah, doing some just chatting. Nice, nice. How did stream go? How did stream go? No, I don't even know if I went first place there. Dang, he was pretty well though. There was like one white doggy that was a little ahead of him. Oh, second place. Well, that's not bad. I do kind of want to like do better than that though. I want to do a bit better. Hello, hello. We were learning